My name is Tyler Fornes, and I am one of the co-hosts of the Good, the Bad, and the Hungy AEW podcast here on the Voice of Wrestling Podcasting Network. We take a broad scope approach to the world of All Elite Wrestling and the entire universe of Tony Khan. We talk about the big matches, the big stars, the promos, the storylines, and we also look at it from a big picture perspective. How are things going to change over the course of the next 10 years with AEW still in the picture? How are companies like WWE going to adapt and adjust to AEW? Are they going to be a similar way like they did with WCW in the late 1990s? Will there be a counterpunch? We talk about all of that and more on The Good, the Bad, and the Hungy every week on the Voice of Wrestling Network.
Hi, I'm Case Lowe, co-host of the Open the VoiceGate podcast. The one question I'm constantly asked when it comes to Dragon Gate is, how do I get into the promotion? Well, stop asking and start listening to the Open the VoiceGate podcast, released every Wednesday on the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. For exclusive news and show reviews, look no further than the leader in Dragon Gate coverage, Open the VoiceGate.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Thank you so much for supporting WWE and NXT and me. You're so sweet.
You are listening to the Flagship Podcast with your hosts, Joe Lanza.
Rich, if I want a puppet show, I'll go to a fucking puppet show!
And Rich Frage.
So are you ready for Roadblock End of the Line?
Roadblock End of the Line.
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 Roadblock End of the Line. Roadblock End of the Line. Roadblock End of the Line. Roadblock End of the Line.
Roadblock End of the Line. Roadblock End of the Line. Roadblock End of the Line. Roadblock End of the Line. Roadblock End of the Line. Roadblock End of the Line. Roadblock End of the Line. Roadblock End of the Line. Roadblock End of the Line.
Roadblock End of the Line. Roadblock End of the Line seems to have some buzz. A lot of buzz for Roadblock End of the Line.
It really does.
And we are live on the Flagship Podcast. I am Rich. He is Joe. Joe, what's happening? How are you?
What's happening with you? How are you? I'll throw that question right back at you.
Jesus. Fine, I guess. It's been a couple of weeks, but I'm glad to be on here doing audio. That makes things. This is the easiest part of my day. Is coming on here bullshitting about wrestling is probably the best thing I can do. But yeah, it's been a couple of weeks for sure.
You've been through it.
Yeah, wouldn't recommend this. Wouldn't recommend what I've been going through over the last couple of weeks. But
no,
I guess,
pretty terrible.
Yeah, not great. So for people that do not know, I guess I can clue a few people in. So last week, I didn't mention it on the show, but last week when we did the show, that was the day of my dad's funeral. So essentially, he passed away 2 Thursdays ago, and that's why we didn't do a flagship that day. Then he had a ceremony / funeral on last Thursday. So we did that. And that all went well. And I thought that was, it gave me a little bit of closure. I think it gave everybody a little bit of closure. It was a beautiful ceremony. And, he was a military veteran. So we got the folded flag and the guns and all that, all that really, all the pomp and circumstance or whatever. So that was, that was cool to witness and it just, it felt very good, and then afterwards we had a little get together with my family and stuff. So that was good. Everything went well. It was perfect weather that day, a perfect day. Everything was fine. And then Friday, we are having a little bit of issues with my one dog. So not the older dog, actually. We had 2 dogs. Obviously we have the 15-year-old and then that's Louis, the ethnic babyface Louis, and then you have the evil hated heel Hans, the evil German. And Hans is only 10, Louis is 15, but Hans was having some issues eating, and he just didn't care to eat really, and he'd lick a little bit of peanut butter here and there, and not too much. And then he was throwing up, and I thought he just needs a basic diet or whatever. So I ran to the store, I got him some chicken and got him some rice. He ate that, he gobbled it up right away, and I'm like, oh cool, great, he's eating again, he's fine. He just had an upset stomach. Then he throws that up immediately. So we're like, this isn't, 2 straight days of not eating and throwing up. Like, we should probably just go to the vet. It's going to be a holiday weekend. Let's just go to the vet, see what's up. So we go to the vet. They do x-rays and they bring us in the room and, not good. He essentially, and they don't know for sure because they said we can cut him open and find out what's going on and try to diagnose this if you want. But it looks like he had some form of blood vessel cancer, which, as I have done my research over the last couple of days, is they call it the silent killer in dogs, because dogs show absolutely no symptoms whatsoever until it's too late. And then you take them in and it's like, oh yeah, their organs are, because he had been maybe bleeding internally a little bit for a while. His organs were all expanded, and it was just that you see the x-ray and it's like his heart is 5 times the size it should be. His every body part is just a crazy expanded and just not looking good. So essentially they gave us a few different options. None of the options were very good, to be honest. It was like, we can do an experimental surgery and he might die in the surgery, and then you could take him home and then he might die when you go home, or we can hopefully do the surgery and then it's okay, and then we'll do a biopsy, we'll find out if it's this cancer, and then you could start chemotherapy, and then at best he'll have 6 months. Was essentially the best they could give us, was 6 months if everything goes well, the improbability of everything going well. Or they said you can make the obviously horrific, difficult decision of putting him down right here and right now. So we opted for that. And it was an awful day, and I don't wish it on my worst enemy. And having it happen the day after my dad's funeral was pretty fucking awful. So yeah, has not been great, but trying to get through it at least a little bit. And I've heard some people that reached out, and I let a few people know, and I've done some Discord episodes where I talked about it briefly. And something that really hit me, and it reminded me of when your dog passed away, your most recent. Well, I'm blanking on her name. I'm sorry. The most recent one, not Lexi. Madeline, that's it. I know. Madeline. I remember Lexi. For some reason, I couldn't remember the name Madeline. That when Madeline passed away, a lot of people said, "Oh man, you know what? I'm gonna miss the clinking, the sound of her nails on the hardwood," because that became a sound of the Flagship. Is you'd hear those little nails going tick 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 tick, and that became a thing. And I didn't really realize that. And I know that you said that you kind of realized how. You didn't realize how ubiquitous that sound was in your life. Like that was just your everyday life, was hearing that sound, and then one day, poof, it's gone. And I had a few people reach out and say, you know what I'm really going to miss is hearing his collar. Because if you ever heard a dog going, wiggling his face, or that collar, it's never Louis. Louis is sitting here. He doesn't really move all that much, and his collar doesn't make that noise. That was Hans. So anytime you guys ever heard that collar noise, or that dog kind of getting up and rustling, 99% of the time it was probably Hans doing it. And a lot of times he wanted to lay on my, I'd put him on my lap when I was doing the show. That's where he wanted to be. I'd start the show until we started yelling, or I got too passionate. And then he was like, I'm out of here. This is too much. I'm just going to go to the couch. But he would try to start every single show on my lap. And he did that last Thursday as well. You guys probably heard it. He was there last Thursday on my lap as I'm doing the entire show. And he stayed for most of the night, which I thought was a little weird. And I don't know if he was kind of hoping to have that human connection with me, or just, wasn't feeling well, so he wanted to stay. But he didn't really leave. He stayed on my lap the entire time. And some people said, I'm going to miss hearing that jingle. And that's something that now I've started to realize, that not hearing that noise anymore in the house, it just hurts. And as having lost dogs and very recently lost a dog, it sucks. There's so many things, and there's so many, muscle memory and memory things that you talk about cooking the chicken and you still put the chicken out for her, outside, like little stuff like that. Every time I'd put a food bowl down, I'd tap him on the head, and that's how he ate. He wouldn't eat until I tapped him on the head. I don't know how we came up with this system. We just for a couple times in a row, I'd put his food down and I'd, pat his head or rub his head a little bit, and then he'd eat. And I just, now I don't do that. I put one bowl down, and, Louis just starts eating. He doesn't need me to tap his head or whatever. He's fine. He's used to it. Or, every time I'd leave the house, Hans would run up to the window where my car is, and I'd wave and I'd say, "Hey, bye, Hans. Love you." You know what I mean? And I look through that window now. There's no dog yet. I come home every day. Doggy's waiting for me by the door. And now he's not there. So, there's little things like that really get you. But, doing what I can to get through it. But it sucks. Yeah. The 1-2 punch has been pretty brutal. And just when I thought I had some closure on the one, the other thing happens. And, especially at 10, I just really feel like I was robbed of a lot of years from him. But he didn't suffer. And I guess that's what I can take solace in. He was perfectly fine the day before when we did the Flagship. I mean, I went on a huge walk with him when I got home from my dad's funeral, because I always talked about how, one of the things I loved to do with him was big time walks. And it was like, I always said, "Oh, Hansi's walk. And he did, he needed to get that energy out, but I needed it too. You know what I mean? I needed it to kind of decompress for the day or get ready for the Flagship. So anytime before Flagship, I'd grab him and we'd go on a huge long walk, and I'd, get ready to do the show, think about what I'm going to talk about, kind of get in the right headspace or whatever. So I did that last week, and this week I didn't. He wasn't here to do it, so it sucks. But I'll get through it. But dogs are the best. Yeah, dogs are the fucking best, man.
It's terrible, unbelievable. So not so very little space between the two deaths. I mean, it's terrible. And there used to be 4 dogs on this show, and now there's 1.
Mm-hmm.
We got 1 guy standing.
Yep.
And
the
dogs used to be.
It's this old fucker. Like, how's the ethnic babyface staying alive? Fucking Bruno, inhibiting the life of Bruno. This guy, man, come on. Yeah, you're right. The entire for most of the life of this podcast, there was 4 dogs. Yeah, fuck.
And in the earliest days, for people who were around super early, they all used to bark a lot, and then they all got old, and they all stopped barking a lot, and then they didn't bark at all.
Yeah.
But in the early days, they would. You'd have these.
They started barking at
dogs,
each other. Remember that it would be like when I was in my apartment when we were first doing the show. I was in my apartment, and there was always noises. So the 2 dogs would start barking, and then I feel like your dogs would start barking, or your dogs would bark, and then my dogs would hear it in the headphones, and they would start barking, and we would have to just stop the show. And you'd have to be like, Lexi, shut up. And I'd be like, Louie, stop. No one's there. It's just like, that was part of the show for a while, is having to shut our dogs up because they wouldn't stop yapping at each other.
Yep. The dogs barking was like a thing. It was like a meme that people would say about the show in the first few years. And then, because they were all young then, and then they got a little older and chilled out and got used to this weekly pattern of us doing this. And I mean, that's the obvious downside of pets. The day is inevitably going to come, and nobody ever wants to think about it. And the thing with dogs too, unfortunately, is they very rarely just die in their sleep like a person would, or peacefully go. It's always some heart-wrenching, gut-wrenching decision you have to make, or it's some brutal accident or something. And it's just, that's what makes it even worse. It's never, like what fortunately happens with some people, where it's just like, oh, he was just old and he didn't wake up one day. And you find them peacefully sleeping in their dog. No, it's never that. You always have to make the decision
so
yourself.
Damn stubborn. They're just so fucking stubborn, these dogs. They're just like, no, I got it. I'm good. I don't want to leave the pack. I'm good. I'm here. I'm good. I'm fine. And you have to make these decisions.
Yeah. So it's absolutely brutal. And it's those things that, you talk about the tapping, her little nails tapping on the hardwood floor, which used to come through on all my recordings. But then, she would also, when she would let me know she had to go out to do her business, she'd go to the back door and scratch on it, and I could still hear that sound. I mean, for 6 months after that dog died, I could swear I would hear that sound. Do you know what I mean? And then compulsively get off the couch and then wait and then remember, oh, wait a minute. It was just, it's embedded in my head, the sound of her scratching on that back door. And that didn't go away for months.
Yeah. I was reading something about that, and the loss of a dog, especially in your house, there's a lot of muscle memory in your brain. And I was reading it. It takes a long time for your brain to rewire. Our brains are meant for patterns. You know what I mean? Our brains, just like dogs follow patterns and they get used to patterns or whatever. Humans do too. We like to think we don't, but we do. So your brain was probably like, no, that sound should be coming now. You know what I mean? That sound's probably going to be coming. Yeah. Where is it? Like I pulled up the other day when I got home from work, and I could have swore he was in that window. You know what I mean? I was just like, no, he's got to be. What? And then, I could sense my brain kind of just filling in the gap. I'd look at that window, and I never looked at that window, and he wasn't there. Because we moved into this house with him. So every day I'd come home, that window right here, the window I'm pointing at right now, nobody could see it, but I'm pointing at this window. There's his head. Every single time I pulled up, every single day I pulled up, whether night, day, morning, whatever, if he heard the car pull in, up to this window. So like I get home and I look and I could swear I see him in that window, because it's just like my brain is like, yeah, you fill in the gap. And he always sat in the same spot because this, he always had to. There was always the same little chair, little ottoman here that he would stand on and sit on. And it's like, yeah, my brain is filling in that gap for a little bit. And apparently it takes, I think it said at minimum 21 days for your brain to kind of break those patterns that it's so used to.
Yeah, it for sure. And, it took many months where I would stop. There were times where it's like I'd hear it, and then when she was ready to come in, she would scratch on the door to let me know, okay, I'm ready to come in now, and I hear that sometimes, and then I'd go look out the blinds like a crazy person, expecting to see
maybe
her.
She is, maybe she is there,
eventually that stops. You're gonna hear that collar for a while,
yeah,
you're gonna hear that collar, and
It's in bed too. I instinctually, because he always like slept in between us. I still instinctually, like when I wake up, I kind of roll over to kind of give him a hug, and it's nothing there. It's just a pile of,
Yeah. I mean, she had her spot on the couch, especially in her older age where she didn't leave the couch much. And it was real weird because for that whole first day, the cat just stared at that spot on the couch. In fact, and then the cat like took a nap there for the next couple of days, and it was just really bizarre because it's a spot that the cat, would never normally occupy. So the animals are aware too, that everything has changed, and that here I just texted to you. It's like that the whole day. This was look at that picture. That's what the cat was doing. Staring at that blanket where the dog used to lay all day.
Like, she'll be here any minute now. Like, where is she? She's not here. Why is she not here? Yeah.
And I'm home alone and I'm still wrecked, and I had to send these pictures to my wife. I'm like, look at this cat. This cat hasn't moved for like 4 hours. She's just staring at that blanket, and then she just decided to sleep there that night in that spot that the dog used to occupy. See her just that was her for like 4 hours.
That's an intense stare. Yeah, that's a cat. That's like an intense cat stare right there. It's just
I couldn't get her attention. I couldn't. She just was like, "Where is the dog?"
Yeah,
something's wrong. The dog's not there. So, I don't know how Louie's doing.
Oh, you know what?
All this
he's happier than ever. I don't know what's wrong with this dog. He is
attention hog.
Exactly. What this ethnic babyface. He is happier with glee that he gets all the attention. I don't know that he's noticed at all, which is one of the things that I'm not happy. Obviously, I'm not pleased that it was in this order. But this order probably worked out better because her and I had this conversation a lot. The nurse and I had this conversation a lot that when Louis goes, which, at 15, it's like, hey, you kind of get ready that it's going to come any day or now or any week now or any year now or whatever. We've been doing this since he was 13, being like, all right, just so you know, like it could happen anytime. And what we'd always say is like, man, Hans is just going to lose his mind. Because if we take Louis to the vet and Hans stays at the house, he loses his mind. He tears stuff up. He howls. He cries. He screams. He just, if I just take Louis outside and it'll take Hans out, you can hear him just howling and screaming and running around the house and barking and going nuts. And, there'd be times where the nurse would have to hold on to him because he would just try to run out the door to make sure that he didn't get left behind or whatever. And yeah, this Louis, he just pouncing around the house, begging for treats, getting extra walks, loving the attention. So, not that I don't know if he doesn't care, but he's not exactly showing it. Whereas, I have no doubt if Louis passed first, that Hans would just be an absolute wreck. And I don't know that he'd be that far behind, to be honest, because I think he would just lose. He would die of heartbreak because that's his guy. You know what I mean? And Louis did live without Hans for a number of years. So I think he's just kind of like, oh, cool. I'm back to being the only dog. This is great.
Back to alone.
Yeah. So he's having. Everybody deals with grief in different ways, and his is unbridled joy, which is a little weird, but
well, it's probably better off. Good for him,
right? Exactly. Yeah, he's because we're all like the other day, we're all the nurse and I are just crying, and we're just kind of hugging each other, looking at some pictures or whatever, and this fucker just walks over this treat ball and just slams it in front of us, and been like, "Hey, fill this." Fill some treats so I can get some treats and play, and it's like, come on, man, you're not picking up at all that we're sad. Whereas. Hans, he would, if you cried, he'd run up to you right away and hug you and hold, and you know what I mean? If you were angry or sad, like he picked up on emotions right away. This guy, he's just like, hey, fill this ball for me, will you? It's like, come on, man.
No feel for the room. No feel for the room
at all. Yeah. And we're looking at him, we're like, come on, man. Like, you don't know this, that we're both like just emotional wrecks? No, he didn't. He didn't care.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
but hey, good for him. I wish I was like that. Yeah. I wish I was better. I was like that, man.
That's what I mean. Good for him.
Absolutely.
But, I mean, it's not going to go away every time I do a baked chicken and bring that bowl out to the yard, I was bursting into tears every time for a year.
I love that tradition though. That's really cool.
It's and I set the bowl down and, I talked to her a little bit and I do it every time because that was her thing. Like she said that big, even at her deafest and blindest, she smelled that fucking chicken and would be trying to climb up on that counter. So, it's, what are you going to do? Now she's out there next to the other one. So, that's the rub with these pets. Mm-hmm. So it sucks.
Yeah. Best you can do is give them a good life and, make sure they don't, I guess, suffer too much. So, and that's kind of the ultimate decision we had to take. And you texted me about that too, and just said, I know that's a terrible decision, but there's a lot of worse ways for a dog to go or something, going while he's, you're hugging him and kissing him and stuff is, I hate the idea that I control the
like
life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I hate that idea, but like,
I know you do, but
yeah.
I know that, but it's like I told you privately, one day you're going to be thankful that you got to make that decision.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cause I didn't get to make that decision with either of mine. And in one case, I thought I was doing what was best and it just didn't work out. I don't blame it. Just, I wanted her to live as long as possible, but in hindsight, I probably should have done it. And in the other case, it was just, something a little more tragic, but, so you will in time be very thankful that you got to do that and control the scenario, even though you're feeling the reverse right now. So, because I wish, especially with Madeline, that I would have had the chance to do that instead of how it did happen.
Right.
You in time, you'll
I'm sure
that guilt will go away and you'll be thankful.
I'm sure. Shit. How the hell do we transition? I'm sick of doing these bad transitions. I want to just get on this show and just shit talk about something and then transition right into wrestling without having to transition from a horrific death in my life and then go, hey, speaking of horrific, look at that Dynamite rating. That was terrible. Yeah, it's like, what do I do? It's stupid. Hopefully by next week, fingers crossed, next week we could just talk about some dumb shit and then transition into wrestling. But
yeah. Well, it's just got to be, it just has to be clean and awkward. So pick a fucking topic.
Yeah. All right.
And,
well, let's talk about Dynamite. Last night's Dynamite rating, the lowest non-preempted rating ever for Dynamite in the entire show's history. You did a review, of course, of Dynamite on the Thursday Dynamite reviews, as you do every single week at flagshippatreon.com, $5 tier. But this is from data from patreon.com/WrestleNomics. WrestleNomics total viewers, 472,000 total viewers and a 0.11 in the 18 to 49. That's the lowest cable audience and 18 to 49 rating, again, for a non-preempted Dynamite in the show's history. The show ranked approximately number 7 for the night on cable in 18 to 49 and number 4 in its time slot as well. A couple things here, and then we'll kind of react to it. Comparisons, how this relates to a couple recent weeks or whatever. Total viewers comparison. This episode versus last week was down 19%. On this episode versus the trailing 4 weeks. So the momentum of the last 4 weeks, WrestleNomics does down 26%. That's in total viewers, and 18 to 49, not much better. This episode versus last week down 15%. And this episode versus the trailing 4 weeks was down 31%. So pretty large drops there. And what do you make of that when you saw that number and saw the lowest cable audience in 18 to 49 for non-preempted Dynamite in the entire show's history?
Yeah, and no significant competition that would have caused that. Little bit of U.S. Open tennis, but they've gone up against that before, and it wasn't like it wasn't like 15 million people were watching.
Right. No NFL, no
NBA,
no NBA, no college football. Yeah, pretty light day.
No massive news or anything that would have taken people's attention. So here's the thing: wrestling ratings have been in the shitter for about 2 weeks now. I mean, SmackDown just had an abysmal number.
Just had their worst non-preempted rating ever this last week.
Yeah, like a 0.26 or something like that. And obviously Collision did an awful number this past Saturday with college football being back was what people chalked that up to. There is something funny going on. And see, I'm not going to come on here and have a bunch of wild hot takes and start rebooking SmackDown and Dynamite based on these numbers yet, because there's been a transition in what we're waiting for is the new television universe numbers. And what that means is periodically we get the new data on how many homes all of these networks are in and how basically how large the overall television universe is. And that's what you're doing this math against to determine what the ratings are, right? Now, obviously, we know that every time that we recalibrate these numbers, the numbers go down. Okay, cable's not going up. Cable's going down, as we all know. So in theory, the ratings would go up when you're comparing them to less total households that have the networks, right? Are you following that?
Correct.
So
yeah,
it's like,
of course.
So we know that we haven't gotten, I actually spoke to Brandon Thurston a little, about an hour before the show to see if he had any update on that. And, he hasn't gotten a hold of the data yet. So I'm going to be wait and see on all these ratings, because I think it's suspicious that all of the shows are all of a sudden dropping like a stone, cratering and doing historically poor numbers while we're also waiting for this new data to come out. So I'm going to hold off. I'm open to the idea that television wrestling, and in specific cable TV wrestling, is in a massive downside right now, because I don't think any of these shows are lighting the world on fire with their content. I'm open to it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's not the case. I'm not saying that these shows aren't earning these numbers, but I find it suspicious that they're all kind of hitting all-time lulls right now, the shows that are on cable. Even NXT the week before, although this week's NXT just came out and it was up from the bad numbers the week before.
Oh, did it finally come out? Yeah, I know a lot of people were waiting for that one. So that one did come out, the NXT number?
Back up a little from the bad number they did the week prior.
Because, that was another one, too. And if WrestleNomics has those graphs or whatever, and if you look at the graphs, it's like over the last 2 weeks, like you said, everything's just down big. Spiking down. Yeah, just tremendous down. So that definitely, you're right. It's like, do you theorize that everybody that watched wrestling on cable over the last 2 weeks just decided, you know what? I'm going to find something else to do. School's back. This is back. I'm done. I'm not watching wrestling anymore. I mean, that's not impossible. That could have happened or whatever, but I'm with you.
To this degree, though, these are steep drops.
Yeah, these are pretty steep drops, and they're pretty noticeable drops. When you look at the graphs, like the numbers themselves might not tell the entire tale, but the graphs do. The graphs show a very, very, very steep drop week over week.
Historically low numbers for some of these shows. I mean,
right.
So I just think that's suspicious. So I'm going to hold off on the hot takes. I'm going to let everybody else be the hot take machines on this. I've seen some people opining some things. The idea that maybe the 2300 arena is turning people off. Here's why I don't buy that. They've been in residencies before, and the residencies haven't had any kind of noticeable negative effect on ratings. So if there had already been some kind of pattern where you can identify and say, oh, okay, well, when they were in Arlington and when they were in Chicago, it seems like people just don't feel like it's a big time show because the ratings take a hit. But that wasn't the case.
It hasn't, yeah. And I will say to that point, while I agree with you that there hasn't been any precedent, I do think the 2300 Arena is it doesn't look very good on TV. I will admit, in a way that the Aragon Ballroom I thought looked very nice and very good, even if it was small. And the way that the residency at what was at the esports stadium or whatever, I thought the 2300 Arena feels very warehousey. It feels very Full Sail-y to an extent. So I get that. I definitely get that. I don't think it matters enough that 200,000 people are saying, fuck that, I'm not watching the show this week. Like, I don't buy that.
I don't buy that people in mass numbers think that the show looks so bad that they just can't bear to look at it.
Yeah.
And I think that what you're saying about the 2300 Arena, that's your opinion. And there's probably many people who thought that the Aragon Ballroom looked like shit and small time. There's probably people who thought Arlington they're like, what is this? This is weird. There's no risers. What's with the neon blue in the background? I mean, so that's just going to be opinions. What I'm looking for is identifiable statistical patterns from the smaller venues and from the residencies. And because we don't have that, I'm not ready to chalk up this to the fact that they're in that building.
Right.
Is it possible? I guess so. But I need some priors to go with something like that, and so I don't know. I'm not buying that. I've heard, they did a poor job having Hangman ready for anything after he won the title. I don't buy that as an excuse. I don't look. I think actually that's a gigantic pile of dog shit. I mean, they set up the Hangman MJF feud months before Hangman even won the title. They couldn't have been prepared better for Hangman's post title win program coming out of the gate, because they planted seeds for that MJF feud before Hangman even won the belt. And, they built to that pay-per-view and that match happened. And now Hangman's doing the thing where he reunited with Kenny. And last night, the Callis family took Kenny out and did the injury angle. And he's been, his post-title win program was set up for months. You couldn't have prepared any better for that. And then he moved right into this thing, whatever they're doing with Kenny and the Callis family. So I don't buy that as an excuse either. So I just think people are looking for reasons, because when a rating is this bad, you're going to look for reasons. I mean, because what's the explanation? And again, I'm going to hold off on takes on any of these ratings across all of these shows until either Brandon Thurston or Meltzer or the wider television industry, until we get some reporting on what the new universes are, the new cable television universes, and specifically the total number of households that these stations are in.
When do they usually update that? Is there a certain time period that they usually update that in, or do they just do it occasionally when they decide that it's time to update it?
I don't know. I think that Meltzer would be the better person to ask, because he's been doing this for 40 years.
Right.
So I don't know the specific answer to that.
I don't know. Is it a quarterly thing? Is it a yearly thing? I'd like to know.
I don't even know. I don't know if it's yearly, quarterly. I don't know. I don't know if it's on a whim. I don't know if it's time to do it. I really don't know how often they do that. I mean, we follow and cover the ratings, but we more react to it.
Yeah.
You see, we react and analyze the ratings, and I think we have probably a better feel for how they work and how to react to them and how not to overreact to them than most people in our position do. But we're not the ones digging in and doing the work to get the ratings and understand how to the work that Meltzer is doing with the raw Netflix numbers is unparalleled. I mean, he's just, and Brandon does it too. And it's interesting because they have two very different methodologies and they're coming up with different sets of numbers.
Yes.
And
I cannot make any sense of what the hell Dave is doing with those numbers. I read his thing like 5 times trying to figure it out. And I think I got it. It's one of those things where you think you get it, and then you try to think it back in your head, and then you reread it, and then you don't get it again. And you're like, oh man, I had it, and then I lost it, and now I've just decided I don't really care. But essentially, his thing is that the Netflix, they're kind of gunking up the numbers a little bit, because the way that they do it doesn't make sense. And especially this most recent episode, it would be literally 0 viewers, and it's not 0 viewers. We know that. So but he's got it.
I think for the most recent episode, for Netflix numbers to make sense, it would have been negative amount of people.
Negative. Right. Because the runtime versus the hours viewed versus the views, like that. We kind of figured out, the way that they're calculating these is this and this and this or whatever. But as time has gone on, it's like, oh, well, these numbers are impossible. Like the hours viewed and the runtime, that you can't fuck with, but the views don't make sense with the hours run. Because for a while it was hours times runtime or whatever equals this or whatever. But yeah, there's a whole formula he has. I kind of understand it and I kind of don't, but essentially the end result is that these Saddam numbers for Raw are probably, the view numbers is probably a load of shit.
Dave's hypothesis is that the numbers that Netflix is reporting have to be inaccurate because it skews way too deeply on the side of nearly everyone watching the delay as opposed to live. And we all know that first of all, there has to be a decent percentage of people watching live. And in the case of wrestling, probably a larger percentage than versus other types of programming. So I understand it, and I do understand his math, because if you remember the first couple of weeks, I checked his work. Remember, I was checking his work, and I was doing the math as he was laying it out to make sure he wasn't screwing it up, and it all added up. But the question is, do you agree with his methodology, right? It's like, but when you get a week where when you do that math and it turns out that the only way it could be accurate is if there's negative amounts of people watching live. I mean, but then again, Brandon has his own method based on the work he's done talking to people involved too. So look, I don't think it's a problem that they have two different methodologies. In fact, I think that's probably good, right? Because that shows that people aren't just copying each other's homework. And with the raw Netflix stuff, because those two people, the only two that I trust, have different methodologies and are coming up with different numbers, I've largely kind of ignored the Netflix numbers. I don't get excited when they come out each week or anything, because I just don't think we know for sure. These are two guys with two different estimates, and they're in the same ballpark. And what we do know is WWE as a worldwide brand, I think it's very safe to say now, is a very overrated idea based on the numbers that they do on Netflix. So That's really what I take from that. But as far as the Nielsen stuff the past couple of weeks, I'm in wait and see mode. I'm saving everyone else. I'm going to let everybody else make the hot takes and decide what's wrong with SmackDown.
No, you want to take the title off of the Farmer and put it back on Mox. Like, just, I know you.
Yeah, I'm not doing any of that shit.
I know you.
I'm not doing nothing.
Look, MJF this week on Dynamite's got to just take the title off of Hangman. And this experiment, it's over. The Farmer doesn't work.
This is for everyone else to do. I'm not doing it.
Right.
I think the numbers are fishy. And when we get the data on the new television universe, then maybe we'll find out that all these numbers are legit.
Yeah, if you only follow AEW ratings or you only follow WWE ratings or whatever, then you might be like, oh, wow. But the fact that, again, if we follow the global wrestling world and we follow, American TV wrestling, and the fact that all these numbers are cratering the way they are, especially all the cable TV ratings are really cratering the way they are. I'm with you that I initially saw that Dynamite rating and went, whoa, wow. And then I was like, yeah, I know that Raw's been down and SmackDown's been down or whatever. Then when I looked at the graph and they seem to be following the same pattern, it's like you said, it's either it may be possible, but probably improbable thing that a large chunk of wrestling fans just woke up 2 weeks ago and said, you know what? Screw it. I'm done. I'm not watching wrestling anymore. I got too many other things going on. It's the fall now. It's school started. Football's on. Even though football's not head to head with this, but I'm done or whatever. I don't know. It's hard for me to believe. Like the Friday SmackDown, and I even wrote about that in a news update I did over at flagshippatreon.com. I mean, I could get that one a little bit because it was the opening of college football. It's the first week of a lot of high school football, and that's a big deal on a lot of places in the country. It's, the first Friday back to school. Like, there's a lot of factors that would make me believe that a lot of people just said, I'm not watching SmackDown this week. And SmackDown's not exactly been the best show lately either. So it makes sense that you would just say, you know what, screw it, I'm not watching it. But the fact that SmackDown's consistently been down, Dynamite's been consistently down, Collision's been consistently down. It is too many. It seems all too perfect for me. So I'm with you. I'm going to wait and see for a little bit. But then if these numbers start kind of going back up and going back down and going up and going down, then we can look back at this in a couple weeks and go, oh yeah, that was just a really fucking bad rating. And a lot of people just stop watching wrestling for a couple weeks or whatever. Or, if they never come back and we get this new universe data and it's like, oh, okay, never mind. Just a lot of people are done watching wrestling. I don't know. But it's hard to make a sweeping reaction to it right now. I don't think that'd be fair.
Yeah, I think it's not the most exciting audio, but I'm basically Peter Brand telling Billy Bean that they're going to wait and see on Kevin Youkilis. I'm going to wait and see. I don't know. I want this new data before I start throwing out hot takes. But if SmackDown bounces back and it looks like it was just that confluence of events you talked about, I don't think it would hurt it that drastically. But if SmackDown bounces back to usual levels and Dynamite doesn't, well, I think then we probably have a problem on our hands and we have to figure out why people aren't watching Dynamite.
Yeah.
Collision, I think, is a lost cause because college football always kicks its ass and it was already starting at a pretty low point.
Yeah.
So that one might not even be valuable to look at. I mean, I'll look at the year over years and the percentages and all those things when I really dig into this. And I've actually started working on some of this. But, to me, it's a wait and see, which is not what listeners probably want to hear. They want to hear how you're going to rebook the show and the mistakes that are being made.
Which I have a lot of ideas. But maybe I'll save those. I'll save those in a couple weeks for.
Well, I mean, there's some of the other theories going around as well. They just more and more people are moving to Max, and I don't know that quickly and in that drastic of numbers. Don't buy it. I've seen people say, oh, well, maybe Swerve and Will being away is a bigger deal than we think. And it's like, all right, well, maybe there was this, where they weren't making a drastic effect on quarters, but maybe there were a lot of people who like watching Will Ospreay and Swerve. And since we know they're not going to be on the show, they're not watching anymore. I mean, is that possible? Sure. But again, the drop is so steep, and now they're in a position where they just wrote off Kenny Omega, to which we just found out within the hour. This was all known ahead of time. He's got some medical things he has to take care of. So that's not a creative decision. That was he's got to go away and we don't have a choice. Right. So you can't take the Omega write off and criticize it from a booking standpoint. since Kenny Omega himself, this is firsthand, by the way, he made a tweet responding to a headline he didn't like and said, no, this was planned ahead. And I've got some, hospital visits I have to take care of. I had a serious illness and I'm still getting fixed. So that one is what it is. And I guess the other two are too. To some extent.
Yeah,
Those guys
there's really no control. I mean, possibly Swerve could have worked through this torn meniscus thing that apparently he's had since 2019 or whatever. That's one that it's like, yeah, if he wanted to, but I guess maybe it reached a point where he said, all right, like I think I get this thing fixed. It's not getting any better. It's hurting, and that makes sense. That makes sense to finally make that decision and do it. But yeah, it all coming at the same time. And then the Will thing, we don't know exactly, what that injury is or whatever. But yeah, it's all kind of coming at a pretty bad time. And having three of your pretty big stars all gone with injuries at the same time is it's not great. And it's then up to
you got Mox, you got Tony, you got Tony Storm, you got Mercedes, you have the Young Bucks, you have Hangman.
They got bodies.
Yeah, I mean, so again, you can take all these theories that you're seeing and kind of poke holes in all of them. Another one that I saw that I don't buy is that people were so hungry for Hangman to win the title that they feel satisfied and they don't have a reason to watch anymore. Okay, well then why did they wait a month and a half to stop watching?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah, exactly. That would make sense if after All In that 200,000, 300,000 people,
400,000. Yeah.
Yeah, all wiped their hands and said, "All right, I'm satiated. I'm good. I'm never watching wrestling again." I mean, that. By the way, that'd be the first time that's ever happened in pro wrestling history. No, that never ever happens in pro wrestling. Like that, you crown a guy and everybody just goes, "Oh, all right, we're good. Thank you, bye," and stops watching.
That's what I was waiting for. Okay, I'm moving on to new hobbies.
Right. That would be would be unprecedented for sure. But hey, maybe. But yeah, again, why that delay? And it's the same thing with the Max thing. People say, "Oh, well, more people are on Max." Well, 3 weeks ago, everybody got Max. And started watching it on Max. Why they've been on Max all year? Why 3 weeks ago did everybody decide? Oh, fuck it, I'm gonna go watch this thing on Max.
The Max thing is a slow trickle. The Max thing is you don't notice it. You don't realize you need a haircut until 3 weeks later, right? Because you don't. It's like Max people are slowly going to convert to Max over time. It's not going to be 1 week you lose 200,000 viewers to Max. So that doesn't hold up to scrutiny either. That would be pretty silly. So,
no, that would have to that theory would be that maybe when they first launched the shows on Max, like what was it in January or whatever, that you have people that only had cable to watch Dynamite and then felt, and this is kind of the ESPN, this is what ESPN is hoping that people do with their new app, is that you only had cable because of ESPN. Now they're saying, hey, fuck that. We have an app now. Just come watch our app. Then you would make that would be it. So you would have to then theorize, oh, well, everybody decided they wanted to drop cable and go to Max to watch it. That's not going to happen over one night. There's not going to be a bunch of people that only had cable to watch AEW that are now saying, oh, thank God I can finally drop cable and now I can just go watch AEW. I mean, that's probably a very minute number of people that were like that. It's more like you said, the slow trickle where over time you go, I'm watching less and less cable and I can watch Dynamite on Max. This next month, once it comes around, I'm going to cancel the cable. I'm done. I'm good. Yeah, that's never going to be something that happens in mass. It's not going to be 500,000 people one day all just start dropping cable and just start watching on Max. Now, again, like I said, ESPN is hoping that's what people do, and that's what they're hoping people do, for NFL season and college football season and WWE or whatnot. We'll talk about that a little bit later with ESPN. That's what they're hoping for, to give people that runway to, hey, cancel cable and join our app or whatever. But I didn't think the Max AEW thing was going to be drastic like that, and it wasn't, because those numbers stayed pretty, and that's kind of the thing that you and I talked about as well at the beginning of this year when everybody, we were looking at ratings and everybody was saying, oh, there's so many people watching on Max. I mean, we talked about this a couple months ago when those rumors of the Max numbers came out, and we said, well, that doesn't really hold up to any scrutiny, because at the end of the year, I mean, the numbers were pretty similar from the end of 2024 to the early part of 2025. They were almost exactly the same numbers. So there had to be...
The TV numbers Q1 2025 were up from Q4 2024.
Right. So it's like, well, who are these hypothetical people?
It was up.
Yeah, it was. That's
Would they all come back to cable? So it's like, the thing about Max is I still personally don't buy those high end numbers.
I don't
that were in the Bethel report. I don't buy them. I don't buy the Meltzer numbers where, he claims that there's weeks where there's well over 1 million people watching and that they may be beating Raw. They may be beating Raw, because I do buy Meltzer's numbers on Raw. I think that I'm someone who understands the Meltzer math on Raw, and I do think Raw is probably way lower than a lot of people think in terms of people watching in the U.S., but I do not buy Meltzer's theory that there's this overwhelming number of people watching Dynamite on Max to where it pushes it well over him. I don't buy that. I don't buy I'm not saying Bethel is being dishonest. I believe he reported what he was told.
Yeah, I believe he had a source that told him those numbers. And yeah, I have no reason to believe that BJ is making those up at all.
They don't make sense to me because and my biggest indicator is they still can't sell tickets and they're selling the same amount of pay-per-views. So if AEW was truly doing 2021, 2022 type viewership, why isn't that being reflected in paying customers?
Exactly. Yeah, and that's what I always ask people that were just decide. Okay, great. BJ says they have 1.5 million people watching on or his source says that they have 1.5 million people, and Dave Meltzer says more people watching Dynamite than Raw. Great. Okay, then let's have the conversation of why are they only getting 2,000 people to TVs? Why are they?
And if they're not buying the pay-per-views and buying tickets, then that must mean they don't really like what they're watching. So why do they keep watching, and why does the number keep growing?
Right.
So
those theoretical fans are like either new fans or they were lapsed fans or they were just stealing the show, whatever it might be. Because again, the early 2025 numbers were up over the late 2024 numbers. So
that's right.
Okay, there's these hypothetical million or so people that only watch on Max. Well, why are none of them buying tickets or pay-per-views? Like let's theorize. There are those people. Let's say, okay, great. There are. Yeah. Why do those people not want to convert into customers that pay at the box office and pay for pay-per-views? They're essentially, because then it doesn't really matter. Those aren't really that valuable of fans if they're not going to convert into paying audiences.
This is TNA 2004.
Right. You can get your 1.1 million people watching your show every week, but nobody buys your pay-per-view and nobody goes to any of your shows. So yeah, what does it mean?
Right. And that's never been a pattern in AEW, so I don't know why it would have turned into one. What I do believe, though, with Max is that over time, the more time passes, the more people are watching Max in proportion to TV.
Of course.
You'd have to be a fool not to think that. That is without question. I just don't think I don't buy that the numbers are as high as some other people do. But maybe they're right and we're wrong. I don't know. But yeah, so I don't know. We keep an eye on this and we see. I think the SmackDown number is going to be an interesting one this week. They're all going to be interesting ones. And look, we got one. We got NXT, and NXT was a little up. Now, to be fair, that is over the air. That's a slightly different animal. CW, of course, theoretically is available in 100% of the country. Right. We know it's not in 100% of households. We know that. But theoretically, pair of rabbit ears and whatnot. But so it's definitely what they call in the biz, Rich Craich, a developing story on these strange wrestling ratings over the last couple of weeks. Now, if you're in the room, if you're TK and Chris Harrington and whoever else is in that room, right, and you get this rating slapped on your desk today, how do you react to that?
I probably have a little bit of curiosity. I don't think you could just say, whatever, and shrug it off. Like, I don't know. I don't think I could. I don't know if I'd be the right kind of leader of a company if I just said, whatever. But again, maybe that's the right thing to do. Maybe the right thing to do is say, whatever, screw it. We'll just keep doing our thing. I was taken aback by it first reading it. So I think if I was reading that company, I would say, oh boy, what the fuck? What happened here? I don't know that I would I would go to the next room over and fire half the people and say, fuck this, we got to change this right now. Or if this doesn't change by a week, you're all fired or whatever. But I don't know that I could totally ignore it. I feel like I'd have to have some thought about it or it definitely pique my interest a little bit.
I would be deeply concerned. Deeply. And my move would be to call my contacts at WBD and pretty much demand that they give me some Max numbers. Because if Tony Khan legitimately isn't getting any Max numbers like he claims, and like other,
I forgot he said
like
that.
Other
yeah,
if that's the truth, then let's work off the premise that's the truth. Okay. I go to WBD and I say, listen, you're paying me a lot of money. You're making a very handsome investment in in the programming I'm providing you. I can't run this business if I don't know the ebbs and flows of how many people are watching. And I would sit down with them and explain the wrestling business to them. And I would say, the things I put on TV, I have to know whether they are working or not in order to know what I'm going to continue putting on TV.
Right. And I need granular data too. I don't need just, here's what the overall rating was. I need minute by minute, segment by segment, quarter by quarter, however they do it.
If you can give that to me.
If you can give
I
it to
don't know if that's even possible. But if he legitimately doesn't know anything, he needs
Here's
to
the
know
thing.
something.
I think it has to be possible because they're selling ads against those. They're selling live ads. So I don't know what these people, I don't know if they're walking into rooms and just going, hey, trust us. It's going well. Like, what ad agency is doing a buy based off trust us? There's a lot of people watching. Maybe. I don't know. Business is really fucking stupid, especially in the streaming world. So maybe, but I don't know.
I don't see. That's the thing. I don't buy this idea that they don't even know. I don't buy it. It's impossible for me to buy that WBD doesn't know how many people are watching what. How do they know that AEW is one of the top performing sports programs if they don't know anything? Because we know that much. Tony Khan says that all the time. Oh, they tell us we're one of the top performing sports programs. Now, we don't know what that means. That means that, all right, maybe they're behind the NBA, but does that mean they're behind the fucking cycling? Does that mean what does that mean? If they have 8 different, I don't know what they have on there, but if they have 8 different sports programs, does that mean
they have a lot of cycling. There's a lot of weird sports on there. There's like cycling and volleyball and stuff. Yeah.
But my point is, I go to them and I tell them, you're paying me a lot of money and I can't properly run my business if I don't know how many people are watching. Okay? Especially if that number gets slapped on my desk and I'm getting a phone call from somebody at WBD saying, how come you did 400,000 viewers this week? The first answer I'm giving is, well, how many people watched on Max? I need this information. Because because you told Bethel that 600,000 people are watching on Max. So if that's the case, I got over 1 million people watching this show and we're cool, right? I mean, you got to know this information.
Yeah.
It's preposterous. If it's the truth that he doesn't know, that's preposterous to me. And I don't understand. You can't run a wrestling promotion if you don't know what is drawing viewers and what isn't. You can't do it. I mean, if that's the case, anyone can book it. What the fuck does it matter if you don't know how many people are watching?
Right, just spin a fucking wheel at that point. Just book based off the wheel. Or yeah, like wrestling has always been dictated on that. In the olden days, it was house show business and house show tickets or whatever, and then later it became individual ratings or whatever. But yeah, you can't. Especially this business. This is a very interesting business, and you can book this. This is unlike any other sport. You can't book the Cowboys to win every single game. You'd love to. Well, David Stern found a way to maybe sometimes find a way to book it. But for the most part, you can't book a sport the way you want it to. But you could book wrestling, and that's why you need to know, who are massive ratings draws, who's working, what's not working, what segments am I doing that's not working. I need to know a little bit more about this. I can't make a football game good. I can't make a game good. If I'm Roger Goodell, I can present to you Cowboys Eagles. I don't know if it's going to be a good game or not, but I can present you Cowboys and Eagles as your marquee game to start off, and those are 2 fan bases that are going to watch, and I think it'll be a good game, but I can't guarantee it. I don't know. It could be a 51 to 3 blowout. I don't know. I can't guarantee it, but wrestling, I can guarantee to my audience that I'm giving them, quote unquote, what I think is great television, but you need to know what's working, what's not working, what the fans want, so yeah, I that's a great point that, yeah, if that number got slapped onto you, you'd have to then say, all right, we need to figure out this Max thing a little bit.
Yeah.
And they might,
if that
number, we know, they might know. I don't know if I trust Tony Khan that he doesn't know. I don't.
But if that number is being slapped on my desk, I want to know from them if the net max number correlated, because I need to know whether what I'm putting on TV is not interesting people.
Yeah.
Or whether, if they could turn around and say, oh, well, Max was up 4% this week. And then I say, all right, well, for whatever reason, we're up on one end, we're down on the other. He needs the information, though, is the point. It's utterly ridiculous. And I don't buy that streaming is such a big mystery that nobody knows who's watching. We see all the time these WWE press releases, whether it's Peacock or whatever else, and they somehow have numbers. They're all, bullshit fucking dressed up numbers, but they have something. They're not making them up out of thin air. Netflix gives numbers. Yeah, we've kind of proven that the raw numbers might be very shady in the way they're being calculated, but there's numbers on a sheet. There's top 10 shows in every country. So I don't buy this idea that WBD, nobody there knows how many people are watching the shows. It's bullshit. Someone knows.
But they do know that it's one of the top performing. We don't know the numbers, but we know it's top performing. It's
all very, it's like, to take that at face value is one thing, but then if that's the case, fine. Well, don't you think you should pressure them you need to know? You mean to tell me if Adam Silver called them and said how many people streamed the Warriors game last night, they're going to tell him they can't tell him?
Sorry,
bullshit.
Adam, we don't know.
Bullshit. They're going to tell him. Whatever you want, Adam. You want us to put out a press release at it? They're going to kiss his ass. They're not going to do the same for Tony Khan. They're paying him a lot of money. In effect, Tony Khan works for them. Why wouldn't they want him doing the best job possible? So, I don't. I would be deeply concerned with that number today if I'm in the room. And the first thing I would do is try to seek out how many people were really watching that show this week versus other weeks, and then decide what to do from there. Decide whether it's an anomaly, or decide whether I got to take some drastic new directions, or whatever the case may be. That's the job, and it's not an easy one.
No. And I think, and this is probably a topic to maybe we'll bring back up in a couple of weeks if we find out this data is either correct or whatever. But, like we like to point out too, the business metrics elsewhere for AEW, pay-per-views are still fine. That seems to continue to be
fine. Same level.
Yeah, same level. That doesn't really change. But ticket sales are pretty paltry for some of the stuff coming up pretty soon. And again, we're a couple days out, or a couple weeks out, I should say, for a lot of these shows. But they're not exactly killing it at the box office just yet either. The pay-per-views still do well. People buy tickets to the pay-per-views, but TVs, they just don't do well. And like you always say, they wouldn't be doing these residencies if they could put 5,000 people in a basketball arena, 10,000 people in a basketball arena. They wouldn't be doing the ECW arena. They wouldn't be putting 900 people in the ECW arena if they could put 8,000 people in a basketball arena. But, you see some of the other upcoming, places they're running, and it's like, the last time they ran was, March of 2014, and it was like, 4,000 people, and now this is set up for 2,000, and it's like, oh man, those are pretty rough numbers.
Is that really the case?
There's been a couple, and we're pretty far away from a lot of them, so I don't know that it's necessarily worth bringing up right now. But maybe that's, if we find out that this number is true, that these ratings are true, and WWE goes up next week and everything's fine, and then we can kind of come back and look at that, because it's just the live event tickets have not exactly. It's not one of those things where I could say, you know what, ratings, who fucking cares about ratings? That's antiquated and stupid and boring and old, and nobody cares about that. I could say that if we were doing monster numbers at the box office, and then I would say, whatever. But they're not exactly doing that either. So it's kind of a one, the pay-per-views, again, we have always said the AEW pay-per-views, never a problem. They sell tickets, they sell pay-per-views. Those have always been something that the fans care about and trust. But yeah, the TVs have it's been a struggle lately to get people at the building for TVs, and apparently maybe we'll find out a struggle to get people to watch the TVs too.
Well, I think, when's the first Dynamite after the residency? The 17th?
I believe it is the 17th. That is the one. Let me get you want
London, I have it right in front of me.
Yeah, London, Ontario. Yeah.
I'm asking you, so they're in Philly on the 10th?
Yes, I think so. Let me double check that. Let me double check that real quick.
Okay. Either way, we're less than 2 weeks out of this London, Ontario.
They are. They're at 2,300 on the 10th.
All right. So first show out of the residency, they are set up for 3,039 seats. Last time they were there for a Collision in March of last year, they did 4,300. So that speaks to what you're talking about. They're set up for less, and this is a Dynamite versus a Collision from last March, where they did 4,300 in the same building.
And this is that branded Dynamite too. This is the September to Remember, Edge, Christian, all those sort of things. So it's
correct.
Yeah.
So, I was, let's see, I'll just grab another one. San Antonio, last time they were there was 2023. They did 4,900 people. They're set up for 1,800 this year in San Antonio in a different building. They're running a smaller building, and they're set up for no, I'm sorry. Yeah, they're running a smaller building, and they're set up for less, significantly less. And by the way, that was a Collision that did 4,900 in 2023 versus This is a Dynamite / Collision, so it's a Dynamite, and they're in a smaller building set up for 1,800 people. That's October 22nd. So that's just a sample size of 2. There's some shows like Fishers, Indiana coming up in December. I'm not looking at December on September 4th. But the point being, the last time that I did this with the first few shows after All Out, and I expressed some surprise at how poorly those first few TVs were doing coming out of a very successful pay-per-view and New World Champion. I mean, you would have thought that, I was attacking people's family. So I said, all right, I'm going to pipe down for a while, and I'm going to do exactly what I said I was going to do on the air and give it more time, because I wasn't making sweeping judgments. I was just expressing surprise at how I expected to see some business momentum. But I said, you know what? Maybe I was being a little impatient, so we'll give it some time. Well, now here we are. Okay, we're now through a 3-week residency, and the shows coming out of this thing, it's the same story. We're set up for thousands of less seats for shows that were collisions previously in the market. And there's no guarantee we'll even fill what we have set up for. We're running a smaller building in San Antonio than we ran for Collision last time. So I don't know. I'm not I'm trying to be a dick, but maybe the listeners can tell me when it's okay to start talking about the ticket sales in this company again with their new world champion. Maybe the listeners can let me know when it's okay.
Or just in general,
because last time they made it clear it wasn't okay.
Yeah. I think it's definitely something to keep in mind. And like I said, I think this is a conversation to definitely bring back if and when we find out about those numbers. And if we find out the numbers are, actually, that was just the weird cable, calculations or whatever, then okay, why are they still not selling tickets to, okay, people are watching TV or watching the show at a relatively, decent rates or whatever. Why are people not going to the buildings? Why are people still not, buying, tickets to these shows? So
this is where I'm going to wrap my point all the way around into a bow here. That's why I say I'm not going to have hot takes on why the rating was bad, because I'm going to wait for this new data to come out. While at the same time, I'm saying if I'm in the room, I'm deeply concerned, because this number, in conjunction with the fact that I cannot sell tickets to my shows, you have to have some red flags up at this point. And you may be able to lower them when we find out that the total number of homes with TBS has dropped 18% since the last time we counted. All right, well then now we have answers, right? Now we're cooking. But we have to see. But it's a hard sell for me to tell me that we got all these people watching on Max, that none of them are buying tickets. That's where I struggle. So, I don't have much else on this topic. Do you?
No, I'm good. But we'll stick with AEW here because we're talking about them, so we may as well, and then we'll get to a couple other topics. Hey, this week we got a lot to cover. We're going to talk about Ring of Honor Death Before Dishonor. We're going to do a review and recap of Death Before Dishonor. I thought a really, really fun show. Excited to talk about that one. A show that I did not think was very fun was WWE Clash in Paris. We will get to that at some point. We'll also talk about the best matches in ECW Arena history, because there was a great Ringer article from Phil Schneider that had some of the best matches in that arena's history, and I wanted to get your thoughts, obviously, as somebody who's been to that arena many times and watched a lot of great matches there, and a couple other things that we'll get to, other topics that we'll cover. But let's talk about this. I wrote about this a little bit in a news update at flagshippatreon.com if you want to go and read that right now on the $5 tier at flagshippatreon.com. But we'll do expanded thoughts here a little bit. So this is a two-pronged thing. Let's start with this. Let's start with AEW pay-per-views. Since we were talking about Max, are now going to be available on Max. So this has long been rumored or long been, bandied about or whatever. I think this is not exactly what a lot of people expected. I think when Andrew Zarian, and we talked about this a little bit last week on the Flagship, with Andrew Zarian had his little eye emoji, I'm hearing big things, the type of tweet from last week, a lot of people expected the hammer's going to drop and it's going to be, all right, Max is paying, X amount of $1 million. Now AEW pay-per-views are exclusive to Max. And we talked about the figures that would have to get laid down and the money that would have to be given by WBD for Tony Khan to give up that money that he is making from pay-per-views. And we did, pretty good segment on that last week. So the news comes out that AEW pay-per-views will be available on Max. Now, available on Max does not mean exclusively on Max. No, it is just going to be available to purchase on Max, similar to how you can purchase it on YouTube TV and Prime Video and payperview.com and Fight and all this other options or whatever. So what's going to happen is if you're an HBO Max subscriber, you can download AEW pay-per-views or you can watch AEW pay-per-view stream or whatever you want to say at a discounted rate of $39.99. So again, if you're an HBO Max subscriber, $39.99, which is essentially $10 off, because typically AEW pay-per-views, whether you're buying on traditional pay-per-view or Prime or YouTube or whatever, for us in America is $49.99. So that price is now discounted by $10 if you're an HBO Max subscriber, $39.99. Now, HBO Max, then we'll kind of lay it all out and I'll give you thoughts here. HBO Max has 3 price tiers. They have basic, which is $10 a month. So that is, you get HBO Max, but you get ads. They have standard, which is $16.99 a month, which is no ads, but HD. And then they have premium, which is $29.99 a month. And that's 4K and all this other stuff and 18 different devices or whatever the fuck or whatever. But the premium and standard both offer ad-free. Basic, $10 a month. That includes ads. So again, to kind of recap, AEW pay-per-views will be available to purchase on HBO Max moving forward at a discounted rate of $39.99, about $10 off what they are in America. So, Joe, when you read that news, what was your initial thoughts about that $39.99 price point? And were you maybe disappointed that they're not now just included in HBO Max or whatever? Which I didn't know if I really thought that was going to happen like right away, but I don't know. A lot of people seem like they did think that was the big hammer to drop, that, okay, they're off all these other platforms and it's all on Max.
Yeah, because I thought that would make too much sense with WWE counter-programming pay-per-views now head-to-head, main roster pay-per-views head-to-head with AEW pay-per-views. That's what we talked about last week. I'm not going to repeat all the same talking points, but I figured, all right, well, then that's just going to push Tony to cut a TKO-style deal where he just sells off his pay-per-view business. So I thought that's what may have been coming down the pike. What it is instead is what you laid out, and what we later learned was this deal's been discussed and has been hammered out over a number of months. So the wheels were already in motion here. I'm sure Tony explored just selling off his pay-per-view business, because why wouldn't you? I mean, for all the reasons we laid out last week, it's easier to do that. It's better. It just makes everything easier. But that's not the case. So $39.99. Now, this deal works out if you are an existing Max subscriber. Because if you're an existing Max subscriber who also buys all or most of the AEW pay-per-views, you're going to save $10 a month now, because whatever you're paying for Max, whether that's whatever Max costs independently, or if you're someone like me who gets it with your HBO subscription, that's already a sunk cost for you. You were paying for Max anyway. So now you're getting the pay-per-views for $10 less than you were paying before. I fit into that category. And you fit into that category because we already had Max, but we were paying for the $49.99 for the pay-per-views. Now we only have to pay $39.99. So anybody that was in our shoes is saving $110 a year if they have 11 pay-per-views.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer, right? For me. I'm going to be ordering every single pay-per-view on Max moving forward for sure.
Right. You're going to save $110 a year. But that's really the only group of people that it benefits. It doesn't benefit you if you weren't an existing Max subscriber, because now you're saving nothing, because it's going to cost you $10 to subscribe to Max. So there goes the $10 you were saving if you were buying the pay-per-view through Max. So there's no reason to subscribe to Max just to buy the pay-per-views, because you're just coming out even anyway. And if you didn't have Max before, then you weren't interested in having it, then why would you buy it now? Just to break even. I guess you can argue that for that extra $10 a month that you're paying for the pay-per-views, you're also getting all of the additional Max content. Right. But if you're someone who didn't have Max, then you weren't very interested in it. So why would you be interested in all that shit now? So the only people this will benefit, and it will benefit deeply to the tune of $110 a year, are people who already were subscribed to Max and also were buying all or most of the AEW pay-per-views. What percentage of AEW pay-per-view buyers fall into that specific category? I could only throw a dart at the wall to guess, but it's probably not significant. I mean, it's probably not deeply significant. Max is one of the most subscribed to streaming services, and and AEW programming is available on Max. So there's probably a lot of people who specifically subscribe to Max to watch Dynamite and Collision. So maybe the number's a little higher than you might think that fall into our category. But yeah, that's basically who it's helping. And I'm sure Tony cut some kind of advantageous split deal with WBD on chopping up that $40. Look, on a traditional pay-per-view, he was probably getting a little less than half. When we do the math, we usually calculate half, but it's generally a little less than that. But for ease and simplicity, we say half. So if he was getting $25 per pay-per-view, you can bet he's getting at least that from the max buys now, if not a little bit more. Otherwise, why would he do this? There's got to be some advantage in this for him.
Right.
So maybe he's getting 52% from WBD. And why wouldn't WBD take that? That's like found money for them. You know what I mean? So
exactly. Yeah.
So that's the kind of deal you cut when you get into the room to cut this deal. It's like WBD. Okay, previously you were getting $0 for our pay-per-views. How about you take, you start low. You say, how about take 15% of
right.
$39.99, and then you see where you fit, and then you figure it out and you hammer it out. But as long as you come out ahead of what you were going to make selling them for 50, as long as you come out ahead of that 25, if you're Tony, you do it.
And it's a little bit of it's a couple. It's not all toes in. It's not 10 toes in either, because the $39.99 price point, it's not going to make a lot of people. Like you said, there's a very small sliver of people that are probably in that ballpark of saying, all right, great. You know what? I didn't have Max, but now I'll get Max and I'll buy it for $10 a month with the ads. And now I'll get a discount on AEW. Like, it's a very rare, but I think the other problem too is because you're not going all the way in on it all being exclusive to Max. You still have payperview.com, YouTube TV, Prime Video. You don't want to piss all of them off. So if you say, hey, these pay-per-views on Max, they're $15, they're $10 to buy them on Max, like, you're basically fucking all, and no one in their right mind is going to go and buy those things on payperview.com or YouTube or whatever. So it's, maybe it's a test run of sorts. Maybe it's a test run for WBD and test run for AEW to see how well people adapt to Max. And then, okay, maybe you sell that to WBD in 6 months. You say, okay, we did 6 pay-per-views on your platform. This is what they did. And you see the numbers, and why don't we cut a deal where you can make these exclusive to your platform, and these can just go on here all the time or whatever, and we'll tell all these other pay-per-view providers, fuck off. But I get why you maybe, if you're Tony, you don't want to ruin, because WBD might say that they're not interested in that. So you can't really fuck over all these other people by making this, it's too low of a price.
Undercut them, you're right. If you don't want to upset your other partners who you need by undercutting the price to it. You don't want to upset all the cable and satellite operators who I would assume you're getting the majority of your pay-per-view buys from. So still to this point. So yeah, you're right. You're right about that. But yeah, the next meeting that you have with these people is the one where you really make the hard sell on, all right, here's the numbers. Here's how many we're selling through at the $39.99 price point. Here's how much you're making. Here's how much we're selling at the $50 price point. And you can have all of this to yourself. And you slide the envelope across the table. Okay. Again, another Moneyball reference. You're John Henry handing Billy Bean the envelope in Fenway Park. And you're like, take a look at this in the limo, pal, because you could have this, right? You slip that envelope across the table to WBD, and you see, and you tell them, look, pay me X percentage of that, and they're all yours. Right. And whatever you make, you keep. It's all yours, baby. And that's the next conversation you have. And that's the conversation TKO has with Paramount and ESPN and all these other places. Except it's so easy for them because they go to the meeting and Paramount's like, oh, we'll give you $7 billion. And they just.
Did you hear that Peacock guy? This week? He was like, I'm so glad.
Oh my God.
Oh, thank you, WWE, for taking a chance on us. We love you guys. And it's like, they just ditched you and sold you down a road, fucker. Like, what are you doing, man?
Oh my God, he filleted them. He filleted them.
Brother, they left you high and dry. They said, hey, we gave you that all broads pay-per-view, so that we're caught it even, right? All right, cool, thanks, bye. Yeah. And they left. They just said, hey, we gave you that WrestleMania and that broad pay-per-view, and we're out of here, bye. And it's like, that's what they did. They're like, oh, thank you WWE for coming and taking a chance on us. I was like, what a goober.
Thank you for helping us get off the ground. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
You paid them so much money. Don't thank them.
Why are you thanking them? They should be thanking you.
Yeah.
Jeez. It's pathetic behavior.
Yeah. So like you said, Tony opens the door and Paramount's like, here, take it all. Take it all. We don't want it. Yeah. Please. It's like, okay, thank you.
That's how TKO, it's crazy. It's really crazy. But yeah, no. So that would be the next step. I think that is obviously an inevitability at some point. There's just more money to be made for AEW. There's less pressure on AEW that way to sell as many pay-per-views as possible. And as we've seen in the competitive streaming world, eventually, and here's the problem for Tony Khan. He seemingly refuses to do business with anyone other than WBD. And I understand the mindset. Keep them happy, show them loyalty,
especially in his position. He doesn't feel like he has a lot of leverage right now.
That's right. So keep making deals with them, keep making them happy, and they'll keep making deals with you until they don't. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Because if you think you're going to get that same level of loyalty back from them, I mean, Tony is obviously smart enough to understand A, the business world, and B, the television and entertainment business world. There is no loyalty. They don't return loyalty to you. It doesn't mean anything. If Zaslav's out tomorrow and Jamie Kellner's in, you're fucked. That's all it takes. So, it's that's where we are now, though. If you've already got Max and you're an AEW fan, you're running good right now.
I just slapped my hands together and said, "Oh, perfect! I just saved a bunch of money."
$110.
If they work, which I have no reason to believe they won't work, but I guess that would be the big thing is, do these pay-per-views work on Max? We don't know yet. We don't know. We're kind of, I think we're kind of past that with a lot of these, but I don't know. Bleacher Report Live, remember that fiasco time and time again where it never worked for a half the people, and then the other half of the people were like, "It works perfect for me. I don't know. You guys must be making it up. It's fine for me." And it's like, nobody's making it up. And then that one pay-per-view happened, and Tony just basically said, "We're done with Bleacher Report Live. This is stupid. We're not doing this anymore." Yeah. So, but I've bought on YouTube. It never fucking worked. I tried it like 6 times, and it never fucking worked. I mean, no, it works. It works for me every time. Okay, well, I'm glad.
All right. That's but good. That's your experience. That's great. Right. That's the thing with streaming. Yeah. Everyone thinks their experience is everyone's experience. Yeah. And do you think people are lying about what? Where is my incentive to tell you that something I'm doing isn't working?
Right. And why would it help me to know that it works for you? Hi, I can't get the pay-per-view to work for me, and it's just not loading, or it buffers or whatever. I don't need to hear that it works for you. Great. I'm really glad it's working for you. I'm telling you it's not working for me. I'm glad. I'm very happy that it works fine for you, and it's never been a problem for you. I'm glad. But me and several other people are having issues, okay? And we're not making them up.
We're not all making it up.
Right.
Yeah. You, sir, don't have the world's greatest internet, and I have the world's worst internet, okay? It's just sometimes these things are what they are. So, So, I mean, look, we're going to talk about Death Before Dishonor later. That's what it was, right? It was Death Before Dishonor. We're going to talk about that later. And look, Tony's own streaming service didn't work this time around.
That's true. Yeah, that's right. I forget that. Yeah.
So he had to give the thing away for free, which, I mean, and then give away a bunch of months to the subscribers who were like, "Oh, hold on a second. Everyone gets this free now, but I was paying you $9.99." So, I mean, they took a bath on that show, obviously. First of all, it was in a building that only holds 900 people. Second of all, you had to give the show away for free. And you had to give away, actually, you didn't just give it away for free. You then had to give
people
refunds. You paid people. Right. So his own streaming thing didn't work. Now, look, it's ROH, and I would be stunned if there's 5,000 people subscribing to that thing. Over, under 5,000.
Oh, under for sure.
It's got to be under, right? It has to be under.
I would wonder. I don't think I'm ambitious enough to say that it's triple digits, but I don't think it's much. I don't think it's very high into the 4 digits. The amount of people that subscribe to that thing. You put it at 5,000. There's no easy under on 5,000.
I'm just throwing a number out there.
Easy.
But if it's 5,000 people, then they're grossing 600,000 a year off of that.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it's not peanuts, but it's peanuts. You know what I mean? Like, at that point, you take a TV deal for $5 million a year, and you don't even think twice about it. To avoid the hassle, you take a TV deal for fucking $2 million a year.
Do you think there's 5,000 people? I mean, what if you had to?
I don't know. I just threw a random number.
What if I gave you over under 2,500? Over under on 2,500 people. 2,500.
How many people are watching Collision these days? 200,000?
I was going to say 200,000.
All right, so what percentage of Collision viewers are next level of sicko and paying to watch ROH every week? I'd say it's this is tricky. I would say it's over 2,500.
Okay, all right. So you're going over 2,500. Yeah,
I think 5,000 is a good over under. I think that's a. But I mean, do you know any?
I don't know a soul.
I think I pay for it.
I a lot of times do. I only find out I pay for it when I ask, do I pay for that shit? Do I still subscribe? And I do.
Yeah.
Because the pay-per-views come and it's always a grab bag. Anytime there's a new pay-per-view, I have to do the, fuck, was I paying for this shit for the last 2 months thing? And it's 50-50. Sometimes I am and sometimes I'm not. You know what I mean? Like it's the last time for, what was it? Supercard of Honor or whatever. I think I was, and then afterwards I was like, I gotta cancel this shit. I'm not watching this at all. And then for this one, I had to. I found out that I didn't, but then it turned out that it didn't even work, and it was on YouTube or whatever. So, but yeah, it's a 50-50 gamble for me. Do I subscribe to Honor Club? Have I subscribed for the last 3 months or not? Thing and yeah, it's. I think at its peak it was. I mean, wasn't it like 11,000 at its peak or whatever?
I think the last time Tony ever said anything, why is the number 13,000 burned into my head?
I don't know.
Did he say something about 13,000?
I thought it was somewhere in the 10. Yes, I thought it was somewhere in that range. I thought it was 11, maybe 13 or whatever. I mean, we have to be very below the peak, peak, but maybe not that as far as I went. 2,500 might be a little too low.
So in the scrum, he said it's going to cost him mid 6 figures to give a free month to the existing subscribers.
Oh, okay.
Mid 6 figures.
Okay.
That would indicate over 10,000 subscribers.
That would.
Because that would be $100,000.
Well, he's given multiple. Was he given multiple months or just 1 month away?
I think he was refunding the month.
Okay.
Because it's 1 free month to existing subscribers. So now I'm sure there's people who pop in just the pay-per-view month.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, like I do those months when I find out I don't have it.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah. You were that guy. So there's definitely people who they're not going to watch that show every Thursday, but 4 times a year you're going to pay $10 for a wrestling pay-per-view, and that's going to rate. So whatever number of subscribers they had this month was probably 50% higher than a non-pay-per-view month. So you kind of have to factor that in. You want to say 20,000 people had it this month because that means that would be $200,000. Would he stretch and call that mid 6 figures?
Yeah, I could see that. I'd call that mid. It's a stretch, but
because he's listen.
Was that his exact quote? Mid.
That's what they're saying in the chat. I'm trusting someone in the chat.
Okay.
So, because listen, mid 6 figures would be, let's call that $500,000, right? That would mean 50,000 people are subscribed to WatchROH.com. I simply cannot buy that. I don't see.
So I found the exact quote. This might change things a little bit.
Okay.
Tony Khan says he's eating, quote, hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Okay. All
so
right.
that
now,
could be $100,000.
It's what we were saying.
Yeah.
Yes. So we're right on the money here, I think. I think it's probably a little over 5,000 subscribers, and maybe they touch 10 in a pay-per-view month. That makes sense, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
If he's got about that because in order for it to be in the 6 figures, it would have to be at least 10,000 subscribers. And I guess I can buy that in a pay-per-view month. 10,000. Right? Because that would mean normally they have between like 5,000 and 7,000.
Yeah, and you either double it or you get 3,000 extra people or whatever. But yeah, I
like
can buy
40
that.
or 50% on top for
sure.
pay-per-view. And I feel like 5,000 to 7,000 subscribers feels about right. 2,500 felt low to me.
It does feel too low. I agree. That I wanted to at least test your limit there. I think that's too low.
Well, I mean, if 200,000 people are watching Collision, $2,500 felt low, but like for some reason, 7,500 doesn't feel super low. I can buy 7,500. I bet you there's months where it's about 5,000, and then I bet you it fluctuates between 5,000 and 10,000.
Yeah, if you remember, if you're not me and you remember to cancel it.
Yeah, exactly. Or me, who I think I've been paying for it.
You probably had it for 3 years. Yeah, you know.
The only time I ever use it is the pay-per-views, and well, that's not true because usually the week before the pay-per-view, I'll watch the go home and all that.
Oh, that's true. That's true. You get a little bit of money.
I get a little bit more out of it. Yeah, I watch the go home, and I used to crash watch the whole but I'm not watching 3 months worth of ROH TV.
No, that's not worthwhile. That's not worth your time. What's
wrong with me?
That's not worth your time.
So now I'll watch the week before or whatever. All right, so we weren't that far off.
No, we got there.
Not that far off.
We got there.
Yeah. There's a big difference between mid six figures and six figures.
Yeah, hundreds of thousands and mid six figures. Then it's like, okay, we're talking 500. Because you got to stretch that. I think if you say mid, I'm thinking somewhere in the 3 to 500,000 range. You know what I'm saying? Like you said 2,500. Can you stretch that to mid? I think that's stretching it a lot. That's a pretty big stretch. I
think that the big problem for me with that service too is I can't get it to work on any of my smart TVs.
Oh, never. Only works on my computer.
I just now it'll come up and I'll log in, but then I get the nonstop buffering wheel and the banner at the top switches constantly. I see Claudio Castagnoli, then I see fucking Athena, and I get the buffering wheel, but it will not work on so I have to watch on my laptop, which I fucking hate.
Yeah, I always watch my laptop, or actually the phone app works for me. The smart TV apps never work for me. The TV does, or my laptop does, and a lot of times I'll just go over to my desktop and just watch it on my desktop or whatever. Just sit here and watch it.
It's same thing with New Japan World. Like that's another laptop service for me, and I fucking hate it. Part of the reason I put off watching New Japan, part of the reason, not all the reason, is knowing I have to watch it on my laptop. This is going to sound weird, but I'm more easily distracted if I'm watching on my laptop because the tab, I have to close every other tab on my laptop or I'm not going to pay attention. But if it's on my TV, even if my laptop is on my lap, I pay more attention. Does that make any sense?
No, because sense. I'd be the opposite, to be honest. But I get it.
Most people are.
Yeah.
Most people are the opposite. It's like, oh, I could be more focused if it's just on my computer because I don't have the distraction of the second screen. But I am always more focused if something is on my TV for whatever reason.
The New Japan one, I don't know if did you ever do that? Because you had to get they had like a cast app. So you had to get the New Japan app, and then you also had to get like a cast app. And then if you hit the cast button, like to Chromecast or whatever, over to, then it would like go to this other app, and then that other app would let you cast it to your TV. And then it always worked well for me.
See,
but
here's the thing. It's not 2013.
You just want to hit a button.
I'm not casting anymore. You know what I'm saying?
I gotcha.
Casting was fantastic technology 12 years ago. I casted everything. Like when casting came around, I was constantly, I casted more than I jerked off. But I'm not casting in 2025.
Sometimes at the same time, I bet, right?
Absolutely.
You're like, well, if I can watch it on the big screen, I may as well.
You know what I was casting.
Right.
But in 2025, I shouldn't have to cast anything. So I'm not doing it. If you have ancient fucking technology that requires me to cast, I'm out. I'm out on your product.
I think New Japan World has a new like a smart TV app, but it rarely works for me. It works on my one small TV. I have this like the Fire TV or whatever, the Amazon Fire TV. It works on that, but it doesn't work on my big giant TV, which is very annoying.
Someone says we need to get Joe an Apple TV box. No, you don't. I have more TVs in my home. Okay. You want to know? You want me to count the TVs in my house? They're all state-of-the-art smart TVs. I know if it doesn't work on one of the 15 TVs I own, again, I'm out on your product. I'm not buying additional products, and I'm not converting to Apple anything. It's too late in the game for me. I'm on the back nine, baby. I haven't done Apple my whole life, and I'm not starting now. That's it. It's over for me. I'm locked in. Android phones till I die because I know how to use them. I'm not relearning anything. I pick up my wife's phone to do something. Like, she'll be like, oh, grab my phone and fucking send whoever the fuck this picture. I'm like, all right. I've never feel fucking dumber. Because I've never worked with I've never worked with an you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't fucking, like, eventually I'll fumble around and figure it out. But there's like simple functions. I'm like, how do I get rid of this fucking, how do I wipe it? I don't know. I don't want to relearn. Why should I have to relearn? I'm not relearning, Rich.
No, you shouldn't at this age.
I'm not going backwards.
No.
I'm not casting anything. And I'm not relearning how to use my fucking phone. The last thing I want in my life is have to relearn how to use a phone. Fuck that. I know how to use this phone. And you know what I'm going to do? When this one stops working, I'm going to do what I always do. I'm going to march over to the fucking Verizon store on Highway 6. I'm going to walk in. I'm going to say, this doesn't work anymore. I don't want to be here longer than an hour. Give me whatever the newest, latest, and most expensive fucking Android is and get me out of here as fast as you can. And they do it. They do it. And every time I go in there, they have a new, faster way of switching all my shit over.
Oh, my God. The last time, and I think we talked about this, the last time I was in there for 10 minutes, they were like, all right, we're just going to send it to your house, and then it'll be all set up. And I was like, oh, okay.
It's incredible. Every time it's faster.
And then the next day it was at my house, and it was done. And they're like,
yeah.
And they're like, or the one time I went, I helped my wife do it, and they were like, all right, here's the new phone, here's the old phone. We'll just put them next to each other for 2 seconds, and it'll all be good. And it was fine.
Yeah. And it's like, it's incredible how much faster it is now. I'm out of there faster every time. Each time, too, they give me the courtesy, sir, is it okay if I look at, I'm like, if you want to see my dick, go right ahead.
right.
Listen.
They have to, I mean, they do have to do it. They do have to ask it, which I know.
I know.
I'm sure you
appreciate
it. Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm always like, that's up to you. And then you're like, all right, well, you look, sir. You know, and then that's that. I'm like, you might see some boobs, but you're going to see a lot of me, too. Often in the same picture. So, you know, that's up to you, pal. But yeah, that's it. I don't need to be relearning phones. I'm not going to the fucking Apple store and relearning how to use a phone. It's too late. If I would have gotten an Apple 15 years ago, I'd be saying the same thing in reverse. This isn't some brand loyalty.
Right. You just, you locked in and you're locked in. You're not changing.
It's ease of life.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck what color my texts are on your fucking screen. Why would I ever care about that? Why should I ever care?
You green bubble.
What color my fucking bubble is on your phone?
I hope your wife, does your wife give you shit about your green bubble?
No, she has an iPhone, but she barely knows how to use her own iPhone. So she's not like a fucking Apple nerd. She doesn't care. Okay. She's the one thinking about converting so that our shit is. But now it's like, for a while, Apple started making shit difficult on purpose because they wanted you to pressure your friends to get an iPhone. It started to go back in reverse where, because I live in a house where one has each, I noticed these changes a lot. It used to be, there was like a 2-year period where if we would send pictures to each other, they'd all be like fucking low res and all this.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, they're trying to be slick to try to sell their product. But it's gone back in reverse. Now when she sends me shit and I send her shit, even if it's videos, it's fine. Now you can't like FaceTime someone on the Rich. I wouldn't FaceTime someone.
How often does Joe Lanza FaceTime? When people FaceTime me, I immediately hang up and I text them. I'm like, "Are you out of your mind? Why am I FaceTiming with you?" No. I've had some people try once or twice, and not only do they get hung up on immediately, they get a very angry text. Exactly.
Yeah. Never pull that shit again.
Right.
I'm not FaceTiming with you. You fucking, first of all, you text me like a normal
right. Why are you calling me you fucking weirdo in the first place? Yes.
And unless there's an emergency, you better not even call me, let alone attempt to FaceTime me. You text me like a decent human being because this is not happening. So I don't give a shit about any of it. I don't care that you can't. That's one of the advantages of having an Android when everyone else has it. They can't even attempt to fucking FaceTime me. It's nice to avoid that. I don't even remember what we were talking about. Oh, because the casting. Fuck that. I'm not casting in 2025. Right, yeah. The fuck out of here. You get your fucking nerds in there to create an app that works on my fucking TV, or I'm not interested in your product. That's the bottom line.
Plain and simple. It's 2025. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna have to try to get a Roku or an Apple TV, whatever. I got my things that I have. Just make it work on one of the things I have. All right. I got a smart TV. I got an Apple, or I got the freaking Amazon, whatever the hell, Fire. Just make it fucking work, right? Come on. Got an LG in this room. I got the Amazon thing. Just make it work on one of them. Come on.
Yeah. It's like that famous Man Dog clip where he's like, why do I need the smart TV? I got the good TVs here. That's me. I got the good TVs here. When the Sunday Ticket went to YouTube TV and they were trying to explain to him that he needed a smart TV and he was just, forget it. Do you know to this day, how many years has Sunday Ticket been on you? 2 or 3 years?
Right? At least 2 or 3. Yeah, I think this would start the 3rd year.
On Sundays, he still has his show producer come to his house and sleep over on Saturdays and then handle his TVs on Sunday for the NFL.
It's so good.
It's incredible.
That's old radio. That's old radio guys, yeah.
I would love to have a manservant who just comes in here on Sundays
on the couch
and handles my TVs on for Sunday Ticket. How great would that be? Because I've got the gimmick now where I have to get like index cards and block the remote, or the other one will change, and it's like I fucking hate it. I would take the DirecTV Sunday Ticket back in an instant. I would pay double if I could just have like the bar feed that you can still get on DirecTV, like for the bars. I would legitimately pay double to avoid using the YouTube TV Sunday Ticket. I would pay double. It was so much easier. Now it's like, it's such a hassle to like switch any of the TVs that if I get a buffering wheel, I just fucking leave it there now. I'm like, no, that TV's dead. That TV's dead for the rest of the day.
TV3 is done. TV3 is done.
TV3's out. We just got to watch what we're watching. If someone's like, oh, this game's a blowout, I'm like, too bad. We're in. We chose it to start. We're watching this fucking 31-0 game because it's going to fuck everything up if I touch a remote. And I never had to deal with that on DirecTV. You just fucking pick up the remote and you change the fucking channel and put the other game on. But YouTube TV, it's like a delicate fucking, I set it up. I gently put the remotes down on the end table. I tell the kids, if you go near this end table and you get within a foot of these remotes, I scare the life out of, because it's a disaster if anything gets touched. I'm like, is everyone happy with the volume? Because I'm not touching anything for 7 hours. So speak now or forever hold your peace. It is such a stressful process. So, yeah, again, I forgot what we were talking about. Oh, the casting. All right, whatever.
Yeah. But, I think we were talking about Max, and then we got to Ring of Honor. We got all over the place. But let's do last AEW topic, then we'll move on to Ring of Honor proper here. But AEW moving All Out to the afternoon. So they announced yesterday that in addition to Max pay-per-views being available on Max, All Out from Toronto on September 20th is going to take place at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central. Now, obviously, this is because WWE is doing their debut on ESPN, WrestlePalooza, presumably going to be Brock Lesnar versus John Cena, presumably going to be the return of AJ Lee, and she's going to team with CM Punk versus Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins. I forget what else is on that show, maybe Roman and Jay or something. I forget what it is, but there's a relatively, it's not fully announced or whatever, but it's a pretty big card that WWE is presenting for the debut on the ESPN direct-to-consumer platform, WrestlePalooza. So this is AEW not wanting to go head-to-head, moving off onto the 3 p.m. Eastern time slot, the afternoon time slot, which they have had some success with. They absolutely have. They've had some success with afternoon pay-per-views. We saw, All In do quite well. Forbidden Door obviously was an afternoon pay-per-view for people in America, and that did, presumably pretty well. So they have a track record of doing well on the afternoons, but look, let's face it. If WrestlePalooza wasn't happening, if WWE wasn't debuting on ESPN on the same day, this thing would be on at 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. Eastern or whatever. We all know that. This is moving because they're trying to avoid the head-to-head. So what did you make of that news when you saw AEW moving All Out to 3 p.m.?
I think it's what they have to do. I mean, there's no reason to go head-to-head if you don't have to. The other advantage you can gain here is that you're the first show of the day. And I do think that could make a small difference because if you're talking about consumers who plan on watching both shows, there's a massive advantage to being first, right? Because you might go into your day thinking you're going to watch both, and then you pay for the AEW show and you watch it, but then you've had your fill of wrestling for the day and you say, you know what? I'm going to watch WrestlePalooza tomorrow when I get home from work. Or I'm going to go out tonight and I'm going to watch WrestlePalooza when I come home at, midnight. So I think there's also could be some advantages to going on first. You're also, some people are going to, if you're head to head, some people are simply going to make a decision, one or the other. So you can in effect take that decision out of some people's hands if you're not airing at the same time. So I think it could have a marginal increase in the business that they do, and it's just better not to be head to head. The thing is, WWE doesn't give a fuck if they're head to head because they're working from the higher ground in the position of power, and their money's guaranteed. So they're not worried about losing some viewers to AEW. But AEW, because they're selling this pay-per-view, it's critical that they lose as few as possible. And WWE knows that, and that's why they're doing this. Yeah. So they had to move it. And I know it's unfortunate for the small amount of people who already made travel plans and things like that. But, I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, NFL games get moved every year, sometimes to an entirely different day. Games get flexed out of Sunday Night Football, or games get moved around from the early window to the late window. So it's not like it's unprecedented. It's just an unfortunate thing. I mean, college football, there's some college football games where you don't know the time sometimes until the day before because TV hasn't been sorted out or whatever the case may be. College basketball, same way. I watch a lot of college basketball, and when that Georgetown schedule comes out, there'll be 30 games on there and 18 of them won't have a time yet. I mean, it's just, so I have some level of sympathy for people who are traveling in and, whatever the case, and they're getting beat. There's no doubt about it. But listen, you got time to sell your ticket, I guess, and at least, get some of your money back if you can't work something else out or, buy another fucking train ticket or flight if you happen to be flying. I don't know how many people fly to AEW shows anymore, but unless it's All Out or something like that. But I think it's a necessary business move for them. I saw someone say, like, what's stopping WWE from now moving their show up, right? And continuing this game. See, I don't think WWE would do that because while they're very clearly counter-programming and intentionally making life difficult for AEW, they also are being coy about it.
Right. Their idea is, we're just putting our show on a weekend. What? It's September 20th.
We're minding our own business.
Right,
and this was the best date for us. And it has nothing to do. Oh, they're running a show too? We didn't even know.
Oh, gosh darn it.
Whoa.
Oh, well. So yeah, sorry.
If you do this and then they move the time and then you move the time, you remove all pretense. Like now this is just that coyness goes away. That
Correct.
whole...
And they're still under the assumption they still publicly say, we don't consider them competition. We don't care about them as competition. We're doing our own thing.
They're brain dead, stupid, low intelligent fan base buys it and repeats it. Their fan base repeats that. Oh, they're not worried about AEW. That's not competent. They're not doing this on purpose. Because they buy anything that they. So, but if they then move the time, like even their dense fan base can't possibly pretend that isn't now very clearly and obviously deliberate. So I don't think WWE would do that. They wouldn't go that far. In fact, the way that WWE is probably looking at this is, look, we're going to cost them buys either way. And at least this way, it's like, all right, cool. Now we might get more viewers than we would have gotten because we're not head to head anymore, but we're still costing them some buys. So it's like a win-win for them. Because again, they're in the position of power. They don't need to worry about how many people are watching. That's ESPN's problem. So, look, we're in a war. We knew that we were in a wrestling war and shit like this is going to happen. And it's happened. Look, the reason All Out was fucking 8 hours is because Tony Khan wanted to make sure All In was 8 hours was because I'm going to say San Diego Chargers until I die.
Oh, I got you. Well, this All Out is probably going to be 8 hours too. Don't worry. This All Out in Toronto is probably going to go 8 hours too because they want a counter program.
That's right. And he wants his big matches to hit the ring at the optimum time to fuck over WWE, which is what he did with whichever of those two shows was in Texas, because I'll probably screw it up again. And then it ruins the quality of his shows. So it's just, we're in this mess. And we're in it for the long haul, because I don't think Tony Khan's going anywhere. So he's got a lot more fucking money than Crockett.
Yeah.
And he's not going to take this shit, and he pounded on the table, and that's the quote. And
he's kind of taking the shit, though. Here's the thing about moving this, though. He's kind of taking the shit, though. Right? I know he can say that he has a lot more money than Crockett and he's not going to take this shit, but hightailing it to the afternoon is taking the shit.
I think hightailing it to the afternoon is ensuring the most buys possible instead of playing chicken and costing yourself money while also costing them some viewers that he knows they don't care about. Right?
Sort of. I think he's taking the shit, though. I mean, it's undeniable. They used to fight back against WWE a lot more, and now they're, for whatever reason, and I think a big reason why is because the fan base crossover between AEW and WWE is a lot larger than a lot of people want to admit. Both WWE fans and AEW fans probably don't want to admit it, but there's a larger crossover, and I'm pretty sure Tony knows that. I'm pretty sure AEW knows that as well, that they used to have a pretty unique fan base. You used to come on the show and talk about how the fact that head-to-head WWE shows didn't really affect AEW all that much. AEW fans were like, nah, fuck it, we're good. We're not going to watch that shit. We're good. We got AEW. We're fine. Sports, we always, early days of AEW, but we would come onto this show and say, man, you know what? You can put a head-to-head show with AEW. It doesn't really matter. You put a head-to-head WWE show with AEW. It doesn't really matter. Sports and news, that's what's going to hurt them more than anything. Sports and news is what hurts AEW, not WWE shows. That's obviously, as we've seen recently, that's not the case. That has changed for a multitude of different reasons. That has changed. And now head-to-head with WWE is a death sentence for AEW. It's a death sentence for their collisions. It's a death sentence for their dynamites. And I think a lot of people held on to the idea that, it doesn't matter. I mean, AEW pay-per-views, though, they're always going to get the devoted AEW fans. They're going to buy these pay-per-views no matter what. And I largely agreed with that, but clearly Tony and AEW, they don't think that anymore. Right?
No, they don't want to lose any buys in this scenario, which is why they moved it up.
Right. So this idea that there's no AEW
NXT
fans
is one thing. This is main roster.
Right. This is main roster, and I think a lot of people have this assumption that AEW pay-per-views are going to be bought by hardcore AEW fans no matter what. And I mean, I don't know that. Maybe. We're not going to know. We're not going to find out unless he does eventually do it and say, fuck it, we're going to stay, and we're not going to, hightail it into the afternoon or whatever. But at least to them, they think that it's a substantial enough amount of people potentially that are not going to watch their show that are going to instead watch Brock and Cena, that they're moving it over to the afternoon, which I get. It's smart from a business standpoint, but you also can't be the I'm not going to take this shit guy, because you're taking their shit. They bullied you off this.
Yeah, but you almost have to be that guy because of the different positions that you're in.
And that's fine. I don't care. It's just, it changes the ethos of what AEW is now.
It does. For sure. Listen,
they were puffy-chested. That they do their thing. We do pro wrestling. We don't give a fuck what they do. We're going to keep doing our thing and doing our best shows. And our fans are devoted. You are now admitting our fans are they that devoted? Nah, we don't know. We're going to go to the afternoon. We don't know if they're that devoted. They're scared. They're scared that their fans are going to go watch Brock and Cena instead, and they should be.
I agree with you.
And I don't disagree. They should be scared that their fans are going to go watch ESPN and go watch it. We talked about this when they launched the thing with ESPN. We said Tony should be shitting his pants, because that's an accessibility jump that is massive. It's a marketing blitz jump that is massive, and WWE is going to load up that show and load up shows on ESPN. And we said Tony should be shitting his pants, and it turns out he probably is. And that's a big reason why. So you can get all puffy chested and we're not going to take this shit and we're going to do our thing. I mean, you got bullied off the night, plain and simple. And I think it's the right idea. I think it's smart, but they took the shit. WWE said, we're on our night now. You leave. You're out of here. And they did. And they said, all right, we're going to go the afternoon. It's fine.
Yeah. And they'll keep fucking with them.
Oh, yeah.
Any way they can. They're going to keep fucking with them. And that's why Tony's been coy about locations and dates for shows and things, because he knows. He's not a fool. He understands. I mean, he knew whatever night they announced Dynamite for, that's where NXT was ultimately going to go. They knew that months before people knew AEW was going to exist. Tony knew that. So, he knew all this was coming. But it's like, there's no point in having bravado when it's going to cost you. It's your second biggest revenue stream is pay-per-view. Now, I think the one thing that TKO would have to be careful of is, the guy is worth billions and billions of dollars. If he wanted to at any moment, he can blow everything up. Meaning, if Tony decides that money is no object and he doesn't care how much money he loses, he can completely disrupt the pay scale to the point where TKO, who has to be more judicious with their money, is fucked. And I wonder if they ever think about not wanting to truly poke that bear. I mean, if they bullied AEW around to the point where they truly were on the verge of pushing them out of business, Tony has the means to really just go full fucking Scarface, buy a TV network if he has to, and then pay every single free agent that comes down the pike from WWE $20 million a year. He could do that and sleep very well on a gigantic pile of money, even if he lives to be 300 years old. He could do that on a whim. So do you think that there's any fear from TKO that if they keep poking this bear, that he might just say fuck it and change everything? I mean, he could do that if he wanted to. They're kind of lucky that he wants to be fiscally responsible.
Yeah.
They're very lucky that he's not a psychopath. Because if he wanted to be a psychopath, he could end them.
He could. I don't know, but end them might be.
What would be stopping him? He's got more money than them.
I think at a certain point they're amassing a lot of wealth, TKO, and a lot of partners.
He could make every contract unmatchable if he really
That
wanted.
He could do. Yes. As I've always, that's one of the things that I've always, when AEW first launched and everybody's like, Tony's going to run out of money and Shad's going to say, like, I always said, once NFL teams stop being valuable and cars stop having bumpers, then yes, you are correct. The Khan family will be penniless and broke, but AEW is probably not going to do it. You're right. They could upset that market contract wise pretty immediately.
Let me put this in perspective for people. He could lose $100 million a year on AEW. And it would take 10 years to just lose one of his billions.
Right.
So do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He can lose $100 million a year. And it would take him 80 years to lose the what's he worth? $8 billion? Let's call
6
it
or 8. I think it was
8.
6 or 8. I forget which number it was. Somewhere in that range.
All right. Well, if let's say it's 6, and I think it's more. It would take him 60 years to lose all that money if he lost $100 million a year.
Yeah.
$100 million. I mean, at any point, he could decide, fuck them, I'm wiping them off the fucking planet. They'll never be able to pay a wrestler again. I'm buying all of them. He could do that if he wanted to, but he's not going to. But if he were crazy, he would fucking, they could push him to do that. I don't know. It's something I often think about because you know what? If it were me, I probably would have done it already. I don't know if I'd have the self-control not to do it.
Yeah. Someone in the chat room just said, I think Shad's the billionaire, Joe, not Tony. No, Tony has billions too. I think Shad's worth 14 or 15 billion. Tony's got billions too, though.
All right. So when Shad kicks the bucket in 15 years, we'll have the same conversation.
Right. Well, Shad has like 15. Money. I think it's like $15 billion. Yeah.
You know, it's whatever. All right,
and he has it's Tony and just one sister, right?
Yeah.
I think it's Tony and his sister. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's okay. So, all right. If Shad was not fiscally responsible, you can frame the argument any way you want. The point is they have enough money to do it.
Well, and like we said, and then you could also just sell your NFL team and put a couple of dollars in the old pocket. You know what I'm saying? If you sell your NFL team, that I think is going to continue, or your Premier League team too. You could just sell that too if you need to add a little we go down to the half price books and sell in some of my old books that I don't need, and I get $20 and go, cool, thanks. Put it in my pocket. He cashes in a English Premier League team to add a couple dollars to the old pocket. The old pocket. So it's there are levels to this. There are levels to billions and millions. TKO is now TKO. I made this argument a lot during the Vince McMahon versus Tony Khan era because it was like, oh my God, he could buy and sell Vince McMahon 10 times over, and Vince, people think, oh, he's a billionaire. And it's like look at the net worth of these two guys. It's night and day. TKO has a little bit more muscle now as a conglomerate, basically a combat sports conglomerate or whatever. But you're right, he could still Tony could still buy and sell them immediately if he wanted to. He could, Ferb Abrams bring up a great point. He could just make all of his wrestlers employees too if he really wanted to. Get into that mess and say, you know what? These men are all employees with full medical benefits or whatever. That could be very disruptive to the pro wrestling industry and the combat sports industry as well. So there's a lot of things he can do.
He's just, I mean, and if they keep poking him, maybe he does one of these things. That's kind of the point I'm getting at.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. Yeah. And people should take my. Again, and I had a couple people in the chat room pushing back. I'm saying that he got bullied off the night, but I'm saying it's a smart idea. Sometimes standing down from the bully is the right idea and not punching back at the bully. And trust me, many times in my life, I stood down from bullies, let me tell you. And it was mostly smart, I think, in my entire life. But but both things can be true. You can get bullied because obviously WWE is bullying AEW and winning a lot of the wars, but you can be dumb and be like Eric Bischoff and fight those wars and be an idiot about it. Or you could just say, all right, you know what? Let's just maximize what we're doing. You guys want to bully us? That's fine. So that's the point I'm making. They got bullied off the night. Well, let's make no question about it. If this WrestlePalooza show wasn't announced, they're not doing an afternoon show. They're doing this afternoon show because they're to be announced.
I completely agree.
Right. But it's also smart to stand down from the bully, and it's okay to just admit, we're getting bullied, but fuck it. Who cares? We're going to be smart.
Well, the other piece of this is the reason he wouldn't just go completely insane ballistic like I'm suggesting, and he probably doesn't like being called a money mark. So he doesn't want to make that a reality.
Yeah.
Where people can just say, oh, you did this, but you just, you financially achieve this through financial means that were irresponsible. So what? Now he's got to hear that all the time. He wants to run a successful, profitable business so that he can refute when people say, he's a guy that's just burning money because he can. He doesn't like hearing that. So there's some personal pride involved too. At that level of wealth, everything is just a hobby.
Yeah. It's just hobby, pride, ego, pretty much.
Yeah. At that level of wealth, that's when you really boil it down to it, that's what it is. And maybe it's not as fun if you're just throwing as much money as possible at it to, where you just, you want to prove something to yourself. Like, he's a human being. No matter how much money you have, you're a human. And he probably wants to prove to himself that he is a good businessman and that he is a good wrestling promoter and that he is a good fucking EPL, whatever his job is that everyone thinks he stinks at with that team. The director of personnel or
whatever it is. He's also the director of analytics or whatever for the Jaguars,
for the Jaguars.
I don't know if that's going well. Yeah, whatever. I forget what the football thing is. Yeah, he's director.
Whatever they can't just call it a GM because
no, it's got to be they want to sack him, Joe. They want to sack him. They want to sack him from his director of premiership personnel development or whatever the fuck. They want to sack him from that. And then the Jaguars fans want to fire him as well. Yeah.
Got a fancier British title, the GM job for the soccer
Let's see what
teams.
It is. He is
someone in the chat.
Yeah.
Director of people or director of
football operations is Tony Khan.
Yeah. So that's not all that different from
I guess I thought it would be more annoying than that, but they do want to sack him though.
The director of footy practitioners or something. Footy. I hate when they call it that.
Footy.
Yeah, and so he probably has personal pride in wanting to do a good job without having to just cover every problem with money. Because what does he hear his entire life? Oh, you're a nepo baby. You just have money. Everything's easy for you. Well, sometimes people like that are driven to prove that they really can be successful at things. So he doesn't run his companies. He runs his companies with the idea of making money. So to prove that, if to no one else, to himself. And I can understand that from a psychological standpoint. I would also be a very petty bitch, and I would have put TKO out by now. That would be what I would.
But we also, and I grew up without money, so we'd be probably a little more irrational and stupid and petty and dumb. But
I would take great glee in ending WWE. So, and I would be very petty about that if they were coming at me like that. So I'm built different, Tony. I'm built different. What the hell are we talking about now?
Nah, just all out. Afternoon.
We're just in this man's pockets, is what we're doing.
Yeah, we're just trying to spend his money. Pockets. We're only going to spend like $1 billion of his dollars. I mean, come on, man. You're good.
Come on.
You'll make that back.
It takes 60 years to go broke.
Right,
Tony.
right. You got a couple.
You're not going to live 60 more years.
Right. You got a couple investments, I'm sure, that can just make that money back in due time. Or sell that. We'll sell one of those yachts. You don't need all those super yachts. Come on.
I think that might be his first move when, the unfortunate day comes. Didn't they sell the yacht?
They did. No, I think he bought another one. I think he sold one and then bought another. I don't think Shad is yachtless. I think he sold one and bought the other.
I think they sold the yacht that had the port for the smaller yacht inside of the yacht. Like they sold that one.
He downsized his yacht.
Remember that yacht? They had the yacht
that
fit another yacht. Like you can bring your poor rich person yacht to their yacht and park it inside of their
it inside my yacht. Yeah. Dude, I had no idea what the super yacht game was like until we went to Italy. And we were on the Amalfi Coast, and that's Magic Johnson's, that's a huge area. And I remember one of these boats came by and I was like, oh my fucking God, look at that thing. That is insane. Like I see boats all the time, in America, and it's like, oh, that's a pretty big boat. You know what I mean? You're like, wow, what a big boat. I wish I had a boat. I don't wish I had a boat. I wish I knew who owned that boat, and I was friends with that guy. But, at the end of the day, you're like, oh, wow, it's a pretty, and then I saw these things, and I was like, oh my God, these are massive. And then when I heard that, that Shad had a super yacht that parks plebeian yachts in, you can park your plebeian yacht in my yacht.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. Yeah. You read what's on it and it's like, full court basketball hoop and it's got 19 bedrooms. You're like, Jesus Christ. And then, you see them in person. I mean, I can't even describe what these things looked like up close. It was unbelievable to see these things. It was crazy.
They're floating islands.
Yeah.
I mean,
they're massive.
They're like cruise ships are like floating hotels. These are like floating islands.
Yeah.
Floating luxury islands.
Yeah, they look like, this Amalfi Coast was just like lined with what it looked like cruise ships. But they look nicer than cruise ships. Like cruise ships look slummy compared to these things. I mean, they were all weird and slick or whatever. And people were like, oh yeah, that's like, and they were telling me who they were. It's just some like oil guy. It's just some random dude that you don't know. Oh yeah, he runs, he's guy that runs Sitco, or he runs like, it's like these, oil dudes, or I guess Shad Khan.
Sheiks.
Yeah, it's all these chic. It's all these guys that are front row at the WWE Saudi shows.
Season.
Yeah. Right, every yacht season. Yeah. Crown Jewel, not looking, not caring. They're like, yeah.
Well, if you get a boat, boat people tend to always want to upgrade. I mean, even Tony Soprano went from Stugatz to Stugatz 2. I mean, he even got a bigger boat. So, you get a boat, you want a bigger boat.
Yep.
Yeah, it becomes a competition. It becomes a dick measuring contest like everything else. So, wonder what happened to the original Stugatz and Stugatz 2.
Yeah, you think those are still, I think they're in like a museum or something like that?
Are they still seaworthy?
Oh yeah. I don't know if they. Isn't there a term when you put a ship down? It's got like I forget what it's called. It's a nice little term. I like that boats all have these, like, you have to have a little cheeky name, and they have all these weird terms for everything that you do, and it's like, what do you call it?
They refer to them as she. It's like the female pronouns for the boat.
Yeah.
Like
she's a beaut as you tap. You're.
But you have to say that, or like ocean people like get mad at you.
Yeah.
Like. If you don't use the right, C word, they have to there's some word for when you retire a boat and it's no longer seaworthy or whatever.
Yeah, what's that term? I forget. It's so.
And
good.
I'm just like, you know what? Let's calm down. We don't need to take this that seriously. We don't need special words. We don't need to have fucking female pronouns. It's just a boat, man. It's like my barista rant from a couple weeks ago. Same thing. Like, we don't, you're not special because you have a fucking boat, and like half the time it's like. Like the Stugatz, that wasn't like any kind of special boat. That's like, it's like, you don't have to have special terms for this shit. It's not a super yacht. I don't know. Boat people get a little weird sometimes with their vessels.
A little.
Their sea vessels.
Very weird.
Fucking, Especially if it's like a fishing boat. People love their fucking boats, man. And then what do you use it twice a year if you don't live out by a fucking
the people around me have boats, and it's just like it's like 3 months out of the year you can maybe use that thing. And it's a lot of work, and you're parking it, and you're paying, and you're I got to go to the boat. I got to make sure it's and
yeah.
As Jordan Smith points out, got to remind yourself which way is starboard and which way is port. It's like fuck off.
Oh fuck,
north,
that.
south, east, west. Come on.
Yeah. Nautical miles,
right.
Nautical miles versus miles, right? Why does it have to be different? How's a mile not just a mile?
Right. I think we got
I'm not smart enough to understand that. Like, why is the nautical mile different than a mile? It should be distance is distance, right? Like a fucking yard. If I lay a yardstick in the fucking ocean, it's still a yard. You know what I'm saying? So why is the mile different? I'm just not smart enough to understand.
No, you know what?
Not.
The good thing is I'm never going to have to know. I'm never going to have boat money, so it doesn't matter. I'd like to have a friend that has a boat, but even then I've kind of let that go. Because if it hasn't happened yet, I'm probably not going to make a friend that has a boat, and that's fine. I'm okay.
It's like crypto mining. I will never understand how that works. Oh, you have to mine for it. What do you mean? Like with a pickaxe and a fucking spelunking helmet? No, you mine on your computer. What? Yeah. You have to take your computer. And I'm like, all right, I'm lost. They start explaining and I never understand. I'm too dumb. And I see, it's okay to accept when you're not smart enough to understand.
Yeah, or your brain doesn't have room for any more. You're like, it's one of those things that as somebody explains it to you, you're like, that's a lot of information and my brain is pretty full as is. I think I'm just going to let that one go.
Yeah. So I'm like, wait, so if I sit here in front of my computer, eventually I'm going to have crypto? That doesn't make any sense. It's just going to create crypto. And they're like, yeah, because you see and then I'm lost. I'm lost within 30 seconds. It doesn't make any fucking sense. It makes no sense. I'm like, all right, well then why doesn't someone just get 100 fucking of these computers and just do this around the clock? And they're like,
that's what they do.
And they go, yes, people do. And I'm like, oh,
correct.
And then I'm like,
correct. Yes.
Yeah, great. All right, well, nice talk.
You have figured out how it works.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now I get it. Now I kind of get it. Yeah, now I understand. So, it's AI destroys the trees. How? Well, you see, and then I'm lost. I don't know. I still don't get it. I still don't understand how me giving an AI prompt kills a fucking tree.
Oh, well, I could better explain that for you if you want, but we don't have to do that today. So
it won't make sense to me.
Well, have you heard of using resources to, I don't know, cool a building? Anything like that? No, never. Yeah. Lots of computers.
Cool in a building.
Well, no. In general, a lot of stuff. You're not quite literally. They're not ripping a tree out of the ground. I think it's more of the overarching idea.
It's going to go poorly.
It's going to go poorly. Yeah. So why don't we just?
Because I'm thinking I do a prompt and a tree dies.
No, I don't think it's quite as obvious as that. It's not like you tell
some river dries up.
Yeah, you tell Google Gemini, hey, tell me about this, and they rip a tree out of the ground. It's not exactly that, but the
right. Like I go, Grok. Does this Dave Meltzer math make sense?
God,
and a
Grok,
tree dies.
Grok, this real? What's this? Yeah, poor Dave. Every Dave Meltzer tweet. Grok, is Dave making this up or what? It's like
every Dave Meltzer tweet. Every tweet.
That's true. Every tweet.
Grok, is this true? I'm starting to see them under like team accounts. Reds win 5-3. Grok, is this true? Like people just like to ask Grok.
Well, I think the thing is you get engagement from it. So if you're the first one to ask it, the stupid AI responds to you, and then a bunch of people respond to you, and then you get the sweet engagement that you can, never do anything. Verbatim was a great joke. Yeah. The chat says, and Kawhi Leonard never replanted them either. Yes, you ask Grok. They ripped a tree out. Then Kawhi Leonard's fake job as with his fake tree replanting company never came to fruition. So yeah, that is how AI works. Is you send a prompt to Grok, they rip a tree out of the ground, and then Kawhi Leonard's supposed to replant it, but he never does.
Grok, is this baseball score accurate? And do it in a Jamaican accent. Yeah, man, the Reds defeated the Brewers.
So ridiculous.
And it does it. And it's like...
It does, yes.
What the
fuck
are
by
we
the way,
doing?
to run Grok, it takes massive data centers, which have to be cooled by water, which comes from lakes and rivers and oceans. Right. And is run by gasoline, which then goes into the ozone layer, which then warms, yada, 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 et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So...
Also, you can get the Rockies Giants score in the voice of Jar Jar Binks. It's very important to do.
Right. God damn it.
It's very important.
Oh, God. We deserve it. We deserve destruction. We deserve it. We do. I mean, look at how stupid we are. Like you said, yeah, people at Grok, give me this in Jar Jar Binks' voice. Like, Colorado beats it. Just like, what are you doing? We just, a whole river just dried up. Because they're like, oh, fuck, Rock needs to get Jar Jar Binks for the Rockies score. So get all this water out of this fucking pond and send it to the data center so that we can get... Fuck. What are we doing?
That Jar Jar Binks voice. I'm crying.
I can do more, but I will not. It has to come at a certain...
I'm crying. It's got to be natural. It's got to be a natural Jar Jar Binks. You can't...
Do you remember the first time you heard Jar Jar Binks? Did you watch? Because you're not a Star Wars guy, right? You were never a Star Wars guy. I don't. Did you?
I've watched.
Did you like
Star
go to
Wars
the theater
movies.
to watch it? Like you weren't like standing in line to get to the theater for the beginning of it, right?
No.
Okay.
God.
Yeah, I assumed. Yeah.
I mean, I've seen the Star Wars movies. Have I seen them all? No. Eventually, I tapped out because I stopped enjoying them. But I'm not but I was never a Star Wars guy. But I've seen the movies. You know, you got to see the original trilogy. I mean, you got to be a normal person, and at least. But I say that, but there's so many movies I haven't seen that I've never seen a Jurassic Park. But
yeah.
I'm telling people they're, you know, yeah. Jar Jar.
But that I remember, like we're at the movie theater, and then like here comes this character, and we're all like, "What the fuck is this? Like, this is really weird." We're thinking it's like a bit character. No, he's a central character in the movie. It's not like, you know, because you had a couple random, you know, weird voices or whatever. They would show up for 1 second, or they're in the fucking bar or whatever. You know,
yeah.
Or they're like a commander for a second.
Greedo.
Yeah, right. Like, that's fine. It's fine as like a little bit for a second, but then it's like, oh, this is a central character of the movie. Okay.
Well, I think they were trying to like create a C-3PO.
Yeah, they were trying to make a mascot.
Next generation.
And everybody, but yeah.
You know, even though C-3PO was in the prequels, right?
Correct.
But you get the idea. They were trying to have that kind of character to kind of hold everything together. Like, but yeah, that went a little sideways. Phantom Menace.
Juice Daddy said, Misa waiting for Ring of Honor review. Oh, God. You're going to get it. It's coming.
I bet. I mean, we're probably doing it next. I mean, we may as well stay in this world, right?
Yeah, of course. Converse. Of course. Let's do Tony Converse. ROH Death Before Dishonor from the lovely 2300 Arena. Joe, did you watch the pre-show?
I did.
Did you? I'll talk about it because I fucking did not. I'll tell you, I saw this pre-show lineup and I said, I am good on this. I do wish I watched the $50,000 four-way, but I'll tell you, Pure Rules, Billy Starks and Ashley Vox, I was like, nope. And then I saw MXN Collection and Johnny Hungy, and I was like, nope, I'm good. So sorry, Jay Lethal and Jordan Oliver, and sorry, Drolistico and Helico, Adam Priest and AR Fox. Did we at least get a Yave reference when talking about Angelico?
Come on, what do you?
I think we did, right? Yeah.
I didn't see the lineup, so I just slapped.
Yeah, I saw the lineup and it was like, no, thank you. No, I'm good. My dad. I just buried my dad, and my dog just died this week. I'm not watching Billy Starks and Ashley Fox in a Pure Rules match. You know what I'm saying? Time
understood.
Time is very valuable right now, so you know you gotta pick and you gotta choose. So
yeah. I will start by saying this: if you didn't like show length talk when we reviewed the show in Texas, all in, close your ears for a second. Rich, there is no fucking reason an ROH show needs to be 5 hours, right? Can we all agree on that?
I think we can all agree on that. Yeah, when I hit play on the main show and it was like 3 hours and 50 minutes, I was like, oh, yeah, boy, that's a lot.
What? I'm like, what? A 4-hour ROH main show, and then, you know, that's even too long. Even if you blow off, it's Ring of Honor. Tony, if you're still listening after the show,
he is not. He is not,
Tony,
but maybe.
If you're listening, it's ROH, 2 hours in and out, buddy. I mean, we don't need a 5-hour ROH show. What are we doing? It costs $10. Okay? No one's going to feel ripped off if you do a 2 or 3 hour ROH pay-per-view. That's all it needs to be. I mean, this was absurd, the length of this show. But, yeah, Jay Lethal over Jordan Oliver. I'm happy to see Jordan Oliver get a shot.
I am too.
I think he's a guy who was a whipping boy on this show for a long time, but he's someone who absorbed all of the early criticism of his career. He has worked really hard. He's kept his head down. He's grinded, and he's become a nice little wrestler. And they gave him a shot on Dynamite last night as an extra and trusted him to do the spot with FTR. And it was good to see him. I was pleased to see, because I didn't see the lineup. I was pleased to see him come out from behind the curtain. He's not someone I see work a lot these days because I just don't really pay any attention to GCW or many indies for that matter. So it was good for him to get some AEW eyes on him. And I hope he's still working hard, and he's much improved over what he was like during the pandemic when I thought he was just outright terrible. But you have to listen, people improve, and wrestlers that work hard and try to improve, if they've got any ability, they typically do. And he loves wrestling. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
He got his body right, too. I mean, he was this wiry, thin, young guy when he first started, but he's added some bulk. He added some strength. And, yeah, he's become a pretty good worker. I'm with you.
Yeah. So he loses to Jay Lethal. Then we had a awful three-way tag team match with MXM. That whole MXM with Johnny TV and Taya Valkyrie act, that is for the fucking birds. Just go away. Just get rid of them. Well, get rid of Johnny TV and Taya. I could live with MXM. I can't deal with Johnny TV and Taya. It's just instant go away heat. So we had Alex Reynolds and John Silver, and then the Frat House, which in this case it was Cole Carter and Griff Garrison. They have a whole gaggle of people that come out, but I think it's always Cole Carter.
I'm pretty sure, yeah. When it's not Freebird Rules. I think it's almost always them.
When because it's Carter, Garrison, Jack Jameson does the talking, and I think Preston Vance is part of that group. So
I think that's right, yeah.
And then they have a bunch of usually like jabronis with the red cups, but they're not part of they're just extras. The guys that hang around. But anyway, totally skippable. Just a bunch of comedy garbage. No use for it. Billy Starks over Ashley Box.
Yeah, maybe it was match of the year. Maybe it was match of the year. I don't know.
My take is Billy Starks was much better in a setting like this with the pure rules than she ever is in these long singles matches they have her in. So I pick on Billy Starks harder than maybe any other wrestler. So I have to say, having her in a pure rules match, it kind of reined her in and it made her more efficient. Is that a good word to use? It made her more efficient in her work. And it took away like the one big dive that she usually likes to do. But I thought that she looked better here in this little 5-minute match because I think she gets exposed in these long singles matches that I just don't think she can handle. So I don't know. I thought, that she was fine. And then Tony loves these matches for fake money, does them all the time now. So we had Dralistico over Angelico, Adam Priest, and AR Fox. My question is, do you think Dralistico thinks he really won $50,000? Did Tony have to have a hard conversation with
Dralistico? I think probably, yeah. All the other guys knew the gimmick, but Dralistico definitely showed up afterwards, and it was
because he was really excited when he won. I think
You think Tony maybe cut a check? You think Tony maybe actually had to cut a check by the end of the night?
Maybe. I mean,
especially with Roosh. I mean, we knew Roosh was in the house too, so Roosh's probably like, "Yeah, go get that fucking money, brother." Like.
The other thing is this was really smart booking to have Dralistico win because Dralistico never wins, and you can throw him a bone here and keep him happy for another 3 or 4 months. And tell we gave you a big win on the pay-per-view, remember? Yeah. When you're telling him he has to do a job on Dynamite next week. So
right.
Crafty little booking from TK there to give Dralistico a totally meaningless win on the ROH pre-show.
It is. I mean, Angelico could probably use that $50,000 too. So that stinks. I was rooting for him.
Hell yeah, he would fund his vape shop with that $50,000.
Right. You know how many vapes he could
There's
buy
no
with
doubt
that?
about it. Yeah. He'd be like, dude, I'm opening a vape shop and we're putting LED lights on the window. Right. And
why does every vape shop look the same? In every city I've been to.
I know.
It's always the same.
It's just so trashy.
There's always a giant CBD, LED like light in the window. Yeah. The window is lined with LED lights that either are red, white, and blue, usually green. Yeah. They flash. They go nuts. It's just they always look the same. I want someone to open the vape shop and it just be a normal, like it just says like Tim's Vapes, and you know what I mean. The windows have nothing on them. You walk in, it's well lit.
I feel like vape shops should be part of local zoning laws like strip clubs and tattoo parlors. I
agree. I always say that. I'm like, why is that store allowed to have flashing green lights all day? And like,
it looks horrible. Like they should be held to zoning, because I think it's the same genre of business as tattoo parlor and strip club. I listen, I have nothing against tattoo parlors or strip clubs. Okay. But I do think it's reasonable that in a functioning society, we keep all that stuff in the same part of town. And I think vape shops should be over in that same part of town. And it bothers me that they're not.
Yeah, and they should not be allowed to have as many lights flashing. Juice Daddy in the chat, who's been on fire tonight, says Green Plus health sign. There was always the Green Plus. Always the Green Plus.
Yeah.
The Kratom. There's always a big banner for Kratom on the window and stuff. It's like, what is happening?
Get the Kratom until it's inevitably banned by the FDA. Get your Kratom while you can.
There's an Elko in his bucket hat. Open up the shop, comes in late. It's supposed to open at 10. He gets there at like 11:15. It's like, whatever.
It's never opens on time. Never opens on time. His girlfriend Kelly works there too, but she doesn't really do anything. She just kind of leans up against the counter with her trucker hat, and just plays with her phone all day. But he still pays her to $7.25 an hour. It's just the whole thing. That's what he would do with the $50,000. That's what Angelico would do with the $50,000. He'd have an Xbox, the OG Xbox, by the way, hooked up to a box TV behind the counter.
Right.
To occupy the time.
Playing NFL Fever 2002 or whatever, yeah.
Yes. And Halo 1, like just on the Xbox. Just
closes early. If there's just no one in the store and it's like 4, he just leaves.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be open until 7, but no one's no one's come in for an hour, so he just closes it. So
fucking finger blasting Kelly in there half the time because no one's in there.
I don't know about you, but the vape store turnover is insane. I mean, they come and go within months, and there's a new one, and a new one will open in the same place that one just went out of business. And I'm like, brother, what do you think you're going to do that this other one didn't? Or one will close and then right down the block another one will open, and I'm like, all right, and I'm like, do we need 18 of these in a 3-mile radius? I don't think we do.
Right? Yeah, same business. It didn't work the first time, so. He gets Kelly behind that counter. He's got his Ghost energy drink in one hand on top of the counter. And he's got 3 digits inside of her behind the counter. That's
what he does with this $50,000, yeah.
The Ghost energy drink. Or the one with the night on the can. What's that one?
That's a rain energy. Yeah.
But he feels like a Ghost energy drink guy, doesn't he?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. He
is a Ghost energy drink guy. There's no doubt about it.
The one, the creamsicle, the Ghost orange creamsicle can or whatever. Yeah, I see those all the time at my gym.
Yeah. And he goes to the convenience store right next to his vape shop.
Of course, yeah.
And he spends more money on Ghost energy drink than he usually takes in per day in his vape shop. So he's losing money and can't figure out why. Kelly's no help. She's an absolute
She's not helping anything. Yeah. Kelly also does their social media, but she doesn't do anything and they make no posts. But she's,
right.
That's her job is to be their social media, but she doesn't,
She's got the Twitter password, but she never tweets.
Yeah.
She
posted on Instagram when they opened and then occasionally posts, but not often enough to do anything. And
So everyone thinks it's closed because they haven't had a post since December
right,
2023.
She doesn't update the Google hours. So Google's like, we don't know.
Right.
These hours, because if you ever look up like an address on Google and they're like, these hours may be incorrect, have not been verified by business. Like that's what, and Helico's vape shop definitely has. The
Google
hours
just
have not
thinks
been
they're
verified.
closed. Yeah. He thinks they're closed. They have one review on Yelp, and it's someone saying that he's pretty sure the owner was fingering his girlfriend behind the counter.
Right.
That's the one review they have.
Yeah, walked in, wanted to buy, a vape. I heard moaning in the back. Nobody came out, so I left. I will not go back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Went to Sal's vape instead.
Absolutely. That's what he would do with the $50,000. There's no question about it.
Yeah. So I was rooting for him, but yeah, turns out Trillisco got it instead and probably shook down Tony for $50,000 before the end of the night. So
he'd probably call the vape shop Yave and then have to explain the name to everyone. Who comes in, which is another problem. They're like, Lave? What does that mean? No, it's Yave. See, it's a form of lucha libre. No one cares.
No one cares. Helico.
Listen. Do you sell weed in the back? Like, that's
and
all
they do,
they
and of course they do.
Of course he does.
Of course, Kelly does. Yeah.
I was like, yeah. That's where Kelly comes in handy.
Yes, Kelly gets the weed though, for sure.
Yeah.
Shiny Wizard said, "At Grok, are these numbers correct for Helico's vape shop?" Even Grok's like, we can't, we don't know. We're not sure. We can't possibly verify that. So, all right, main ROH Death Before Dishonor show. I pick it up here. I don't know if you want to go in order of the show. You want to go by main event and work our way down. Let's go order the show. Why not? Let's start with the conglomeration.
Soup Williams says, vape.
Oh, that's good. I might steal that.
Vape.
I could have a fail. I mean, these guys don't succeed. I could have a failing business. I mean, if that's all it takes. Yeah.
I mean,
I could get a short-term lease on an abandoned corner of a strip mall. That's no problem.
Look, Angelico thought he was going to be selling cameras at Best Buy for the rest of his life. So give him some credit. He owns his own place now. So, it's definite step up.
He definitely, tax season, he definitely borrows against it, buys himself a new car. But the car has to get repossessed pretty early on because he doesn't exactly understand how business taxes work. So it's all right. All right, let's go to the conglomeration, Hologram and Tomohiro Ishii. Yes, Hologram and Tomohiro Ishii versus the premier athletes of Arya Daivari and Tony Nese with Smart Mark Sterling. Now, important to note here, and this continued on, Dynamite or Collision? I forget where they did this as well.
Collision.
It was a Collision, so Hologram came out and then it went like... And Ian Riccaboni is like, what is that? What's going on with our screen? It's like because they're doing this new character who's apparently it's gonna be a Rez, right? I forget it. It's like evil hologram or whatever. But I just love how they played so much attention to this. Ian's like, what is that? What's going on with our screen?
Yeah.
Did everybody see that? Yeah. Did you see that Caprice? Caprice like, I did see it, Ian. I did see it. It's like, all right, guys, we get it. The screen glitched for a second. It's all right. Like they're just putting this thing over like crazy.
How a Rez basically was like, look, I want to work here, but you're not hiring me. And now WWE wants to hire me, but I want to work here, but I'm going to have to go work there if you don't hire me to work here. So Tony hired him.
Mm-hmm.
So
leverage. It's a hell of a thing.
Yes. So he chose. Did you see the thing where WWE Psycho fans saw that he chose AEW over WWE? So first of all, they didn't know who a Rez was 10 minutes earlier.
No clue. Okay. They've seen exactly 0 Rez matches ever.
So they Googled him and looked him up, and they found some old pictures of a Rez with the he used to wear like the Finn Balor paint on his face and chest.
Yes. Yeah.
But he was the first one to wear it. Okay. And they're accusing him now.
Oh no.
Yes, they're accusing him of ripping off Finn Balor. But what the real story is, and Rob Viper lays this out nicely on Twitter, is Volador saw a Rez doing it and took it from a Rez And then Finn Balor worked with Volador in Arena Mexico one time and saw Volador doing it and said, oh, that looks really cool. And then that's where he got the idea. So Finn Balor is like the third generation of this paint design that Arez originated. But Arez is getting harassed on social media by these WWE fans because they think he's ripping off Finn Balor. That's where we're at
here. I hate it here. I hate this so much.
That is where we're at now. This poor guy who hasn't done it in years, by the way. Okay? And they're accusing him of, ripping off Finn Balor, even though Finn Balor is like a third generation ripoff of what that guy did first. So that's where we're at.
Great.
Did you see, though, the Lucha Blog report that WWE is focusing on indie talent and not CMLL talent?
I did see that, yeah.
And that was part of the reason, why they went after Arez. That's interesting.
It is, yeah. They tried to guide. I saw the thing about Catalina as well, and she was like, no, you hired me, and I hated it there, and I'm not coming back. So,
yeah. She's been pretty outspoken. But this is great news if you're a wrestling fan.
Yes, this is the best news we could possibly have.
We all thought they were going to just destroy CMLL and take all their talent, and there was a big fear. I don't really get the TKO strategy here, but
I think their strategy, honestly, is to hurt AEW more than it is to hurt CMLL. And I think the strategy is hopefully we can get a TV deal for this thing, and then that's one fewer place that Tony can get his TV deal for AEW. But
I agree. But in terms of the talent acquisition,
I don't know. They're just being dumb. And that's the issue when they do all these things. Like let's go to the WWE ID program, go to NXT UK, go to their many attempts at Japan, go to their attempts now at Mexico. The thing about it is, if they knew what the fuck they were doing, they could really fuck everybody over. But they're kind of dumb anytime they do anything besides their core business. Like, because it should be easy. You know what I mean? You watch an Arena Mexico CML show and go, okay, you, and you. Here's this amount of money. Come ditch CMLL and come to us. Seems pretty easy to me. That's kind of what I would do.
And they're already stars in Mexico City, and they're already polished workers.
Yeah. So that's what I would do.
So why wouldn't
they're
you want
going to
them?
go for indie guys for some reason. I don't know. I can't tell you why.
Do you think it's possible that they don't want polished veteran workers so they can teach people their way of doing things easier? In other words, it's easier to train from the ground up than to break old habits, because they used to have that mindset with indie
Sure.
wrestlers.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and these are a lot of people that worked with Mystico as Sin Cara, and I mean, God, there was a report every single week about how, like, this kid doesn't know how to work. He doesn't work to our style. Like, remember that? I mean,
right.
They couldn't stop complaining about how that guy didn't know how to work their style. So
and
yeah,
who's in charge
there might be
now?
something to
The guy who hired Mystico.
Ding, ding, ding. That's what I was
going
to say. So he might be saying, you should probably get people that don't know, that we can teach them how to really work. Those guys don't know how to work over there. So yeah, that's possible. Yeah.
So I'm thinking we may have been saved to some extent by WWE thinking that CMLL wrestlers suck and don't know how to work. And we rather just teach.
Thank God. Yes, they suck. Paul, you're right. They suck and they don't know how to work.
You're absolutely right. They're terrible.
They don't even know where the fucking hard cam is. They couldn't find it. No.
Paul, listen, Paul, let me level with you. There's times I watch Zandokan Jr. and I think I'm watching like Cousin Luke.
Yeah,
you
right.
Believe how bad this guy
cringy.
is. He's like Uncle Elmer.
Yeah, cringy. Doesn't know how to work. No charisma. Just, brutal.
And this guy, Neon, I thought I was watching. It's awful. Just one of the worst wrestlers. You're right, Paul. You're right on the money.
Right. More
Stay
Mr.
away.
Iguana and way less Neon.
Yes.
I agree. Yeah.
Yes. That could be it. I mean, I don't know. Look, I would think that this is maybe even more confirmation that they don't give a fuck about the Mexican market. And this is all about just getting on another media rights
Correct.
deal in the U.S., whether on Spanish language television or English language television or otherwise, because if they were really concerned about the Mexican market, they would be predatory towards taking out CMLL. And the only way to do that, since they own the building and all of that, is to take away all their stars. But they're not going to try that. They could pay them. They could easily outpay CMLL. And as we've said a million times, CMLL will roll over. They don't care. They'll think they can replace anyone.
Right. They have 7 18-year-olds that you've never seen that they'll just throw up on Arena Mexico shows and get them started right away.
And they'll hope one of them gets over. And that's
right. And the tourists will probably still come for a while as long as the shows are adequate enough to they'll be okay.
So it's interesting that they're not, so I've been trying to work this out in my mind why they wouldn't go after the CMLL wrestlers and try to take CMLL out. Maybe they see that as, I don't know. Maybe they either don't care about the Mexican market, or like we have kind of untwisted here, they just don't have respect for the way they work. But even if they didn't respect the way they worked, if they thought that it would damage their top competitor, they would take them anyway.
Of course. Yeah. And that's weird that they're not being that predatory there.
It's weird that they're not. It's very strange. I don't get it. But it's great.
Yeah.
I hope it stays that way. I mean, if they've, so it won't be good news if you're a fan of the Mexican indies, maybe, I guess, or if you're like
IWRG, look out.
Right. Like, I mean, yeah.
Someone asked if our man Fishman, the young Fishman, El Hijo.
Fishman Jr.
Is he good?
El Hijo the Fishman?
Yeah, is he good? Sagrada, are those guys all right? Like, I don't know.
I can't imagine it'd be interesting. Those guys are just blood brawlers. They're just. Did you watch their latest one to hit tape yet?
No, I saw it came up. Yeah, is it good?
I haven't seen it yet either. No, they're all diminishing returns now because there's only so many ways they can maim each other. So it's like I'm gonna watch it eventually, but I mean, maybe it's time to move on to another program.
I know every time there's a new video, Griffin comes in and posts it. I'm like, another? Come on, there's no way they just wrestle each other this weekend again. And I mean,
how much are they going to milk the feud of the dad and the guy that's the fake dad? How long can they milk this? Like, Mascara Sagrada NG isn't even a real descendant of the first guy, and it's like. They're milking a feud from 30 years ago. How many?
And they've been milking it for 3 years now. So yeah, it seems like we might.
Yeah, the first one was awesome. The second one was still good. The third one was like, all right, I think I've seen it all. And now it's like, I don't know if I want to see anymore. Like
leave the memories alone. Yeah, I might want to just keep it.
Yeah, like that's the problem with starting with death matches. Like, there's nowhere to go from there. What can they do now? Can they go in there and have like a polite maestro match with each other to mix it up? Like, what are they going to do to, it's like, like I said, they're kind of diminishing returns at this point, but they have to start falling off of things now or something. I don't know what else they can do, but yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
Maybe go to the junkyard. Got to get dogs barking at him during the Bull Terrier match or something like that.
Hard pass. Fucking junkyard. Fucking 23. Fuck that.
Anyway, any thoughts on Ishii and Hologram versus the Premier Athletes? I thought it was a fun match.
No, it was. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Just a fun opener.
Tony, Mark Sterling and the Premier Athletes just doing, generic heel stuff, which is fine. I mean that in an endearing term. Like, I like that.
Yeah.
Mark comes out and it's like, all right, everybody, on 3, say Premier Athletes rule. And everyone says Premier Athletes suck. And he goes, oh, what? And I love that. That's good stuff. I like that. It's just classic stuff. And then the team of Hologram and Tomohiro Ishii is just incredible too. So, it's fine. Good little match there. World 6-man tag team titles. So this was a vacant title. So we talked about that last week. It wasn't clear exactly what was going to happen here. So they did vacate both these titles. So with Shane Taylor Promotions, Carly Bravo. Do we Mandela fit? I thought he was Charlie Bravo. Is he Carly? Was he always Carly Bravo?
Yeah.
I've been calling him Charlie Bravo for years. But anyway, Shane Taylor and Sean Dean defeated the Sons of Texas, Marshall and Ross Von Erich and Sammy Guevara. And this couldn't have been more perfect for the way that I guess so. Well, I'm curious on your thoughts, given what happened later in the night. But the Sons of Texas come out and they are booed. Fuck them Cowboys. And anytime Sammy Guevara got in the ring, just massive boos. And we're chanting STP, and they're going nuts for Shane Taylor Promotions. And Shane Taylor Promotions gets the win. And as the match is going on, I'm like, oh, they probably don't want this result. They don't want the crowd to do it this way or react this way. But as the match went on, I went, either these guys are really good workers and they knew it, that they could get work around it, or they knew that this was going to be the reaction, and it worked out perfectly for what was going to happen later in the night. As well. What is your take on this? Because I thought it was a really fun match with a really hot crowd because of it.
Yeah, I don't. Are you trying to say the crowd pushed them into the angle later? I don't think that's the case.
No. I'm just wondering if, like, because by the end of the match, it was like, oh, this match was designed for Shane Taylor Promotions to be the baby faces and the Sons of Texas to be the heels. But at first, I wasn't sure because, I thought, oh, wow, that's not the reaction that they were expecting. I think they wanted the Sons of Texas to go over or to be over as the baby faces. But as the match went on, it was like, oh, okay, this is exactly what they designed this match to be. And if so, it was good.
I think they were just trying to set up the Sammy turn for later, right?
I think so too. But I think they had an idea that, like, to your classic example of you talked about it last week, the Wild-Eyed Southern Boys in the Meadowlands. It's like, are the Sons of Texas with their cowboy hats and yeehaw, is that going to get really over in Philadelphia against Shane Taylor Promotions? The answer is no, of course it's not. So, and it didn't. And that's why it's like, when they first started booing the Sons of Texas and cheering STP, I'm like, oh no, that's not what they wanted. And then I realized, because then what would happen is every time Sammy would go out of the ring, he'd put his cowboy hat back on. And he got in the ring with his cowboy hat a bunch of times too. And I'm like, okay, yeah, these guys they're good workers. This is what you do. And they realized that this crowd was probably going to be anti-Sons of Texas, which is going to work out very perfect for what's going to happen later in the night. And it's going to make for a really fun match. And yeah, I was impressed. Like I've kind of, we always laugh about Bravo and Dean, but I thought they were really good here. And I always like Shane Taylor. So I was a big fan of this match. I thought this was a lot of really good action. And the Von Erichs, like, they're getting better. They're never going to be good. Like, I don't know if the Von Erichs are ever going to be good, but I think that they're getting there, and I'm really excited to see what they do in ROH moving forward now that they're broken up, and they're going to kind of be on their own a little bit, which I think is going to be pretty interesting against LFI, which, again, we'll get to that angle here a little bit. But yeah, I like this match. I thought it was really solid, really fun.
Yeah, there was a lot of good action for sure.
Then we have the ROH Women's Pure Title quarterfinal match, Queen Aminata versus Taya Valkyrie, which was a bit of a mess production-wise because we got the little graphic up and Ian Rickabone's going over all the rules and going, the 3 notches you see are the rope breaks that they have, and the ticker on the bottom there, that is the amount of time that the match has. So this is a 10-minute time limit match. And then about 8 minutes and 30 seconds into the match, the graphic goes away, and Ian goes, so we've had a little glitch in the production truck. This is actually a 60-minute match. Quarterfinals here in the ROH Pure Women's Tournament are 60 minutes. So there's an error. There's a glitch. And it's like nobody knew that they thought it would be a 10-minute time limit. And then someone, I don't know who, Tony said, no, it's 60 minutes. And it's like, just it's fine. And the match ended at 8 minutes and 26 seconds anyway. So you probably could have just kept it anyway. But I found that kind of funny. I also did find funny that Taya, I don't think, knew the rules of Pure and didn't really care to learn them. Because not only did she do 2 rope breaks right away, which is fine. That worked for the rules. But then she was just doing other stuff. And then Tony and or Caprice and Ian had to just say, well, Taya's, stretching the rules of Pure rules here a little bit. Taya was just doing a normal match. She didn't give a fuck about the rules. And I don't know. I'm not a beater, and the less said about Taya Valkyrie, the better.
Yeah, see, you don't need a 5-hour ROH pay-per-view, and one of the things that you can eliminate is this as a match like this. You just do this on ROH TV. Nobody needs Taya Valkyrie in a Pure rules match on this fucking pay-per-view. Okay, this is just a waste of everybody's time.
So this was a match. The next one here really surprised me that I loved. Love this match. The Kingdom, Matt Taven and Mike Bennett versus The Swirl. They are now called The Swirl. Blake Christian and Lee Johnson. First thoughts on The Swirl, Joe. The name. This Blake
Very
Christian,
cringe.
Lee Johnson team. The Swirl.
Very-
You're not, yeah. It's a little...
It's a.
You get it? One guy's black,
if
one
you
guy's
know,
white.
You know. If you know,
It's
you know.
twist
It's a
cone.
sex culture thing.
Swirl.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Black woman, white guy.
Yeah.
The swirl.
swirl.
It's a little cringe.
It's ice cream, Joe. They have a T-shirt that has ice cream on it. It says The Swirl, and there's a little ice cream cone. Are you telling me this is the Swirl is different than a twist cone? Are you saying those are not the same things, or what?
Well, maybe in your world, that's what they're referring to.
I like a good twist cone, yeah.
In my world, they're referring to something else. So it's a little cringe.
This match, though, did you like this one? I thought this was a really good tag team match.
And
I don't usually like Bennett.
It's pretty good.
Or I usually don't like Taven. Bennett's fine. I usually don't like Taven. But
it was okay. Yeah, there was that, some good wrestling. I wasn't calling up my friends and telling them to
I
tune
was.
in,
I thought it was really good. I was calling. I didn't call it. I mean, I wasn't actually calling my friend. Nobody would ever care. If I said the Swirl versus the Kingdom, you got to watch it. I don't think I'm getting any reactions from my friends, but I thought it was a really good. I like the team of Blake Christian and Lee Johnson, name aside. And I thought Taven and Bennett were just like, you see them in the ring and you're like, God damn, those are two like really good professional wrestlers. You know what I mean? Like those are veteran pro wrestlers that can just, they know what to do in the ring there. And they were able to kind of control the crowd pretty well and doing a good heel stick or whatever. So I liked it. It was a good little match here, but, move on to the ROH Pure title. Lee Moriarty versus Shelwa. I got it. Shelwa. Lee Moriarty gets the win here. 16 minutes and 16 seconds. Probably didn't need to go 16 minutes and 16 seconds, but I thought this was a hell of a lot of fun. I enjoyed this. Pure Rules, and I think Shelwa is the perfect guy to do that, and I love his look. My man's got like an old school luchador look. He's got the tights are up above his chest. He's got a kind of a barrel or up over his belly. He's got a little bit of a barrel chest. Like this Shelwa guy, once he gets a little older, gets a little fatter, I'm all in. I like his work a lot from what I've seen so far. I saw him live at the Collision I went to in Chicago, and now here I've seen him a couple other times after that, and then here I'm liking what I see out of my man Shelwa. So this was good. I like this a lot.
I enjoyed this match. I liked it a lot. I also think people are going way overboard. I think a lot of people decided that this is what was going to be Shelwa's star-making performance before the match ever happened, and then as long as the match was decent, that was going to be what
I'm not ready to crown Shelwa just yet. It wasn't that.
I didn't think this was a great match. I thought it was exactly what I thought it would be, a very good ROH Pure title match. So I think some of the praise for it has been just a little excessive and a little overboard. But listen, I'm not going to – look, people are excited about this guy, and he's someone who very few people were familiar with a year ago, and now he's someone who's on the map. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, and he definitely fits. I mean, for the Pure Rules, he fits that style as well. And I just, just watching two guys go out there and grapple is pretty refreshing in today's wrestling. And Moriarty's never a guy that really jumps off the page for me. I'm kind of indifferent to him most of the time, but he definitely makes the style work too. So, but it doesn't always land. Sometimes I'm really bored during a Lee Moriarty Pure Rules match, and sometimes it works. And this time it worked here. But yeah, I haven't seen that much praise for it, but that makes sense that people are going a little overboard with it. I could definitely see that. Fight Without Honor, QT Marshall versus Paul Walter Hauser. And this had tables, it had kendo sticks, it had glass. It was just basically a big old brawl, and Paul Walter Hauser bled, and QT Marshall took a bunch of big bumps and stuff. I will say, like, I was kind of, you've seen one of these matches, you've seen 1,000 of them. I'll give Paul Walter Hauser some credit for putting some effort in and bleeding and, taking some big bumps or whatever. And I'll also give credit to Ring of Honor for not doing the stupid thing where Paul Walter Hauser gets the win. QT Marshall eventually just put him away and pinned him because he's the wrestler and Paul Walter Hauser's a celebrity. So I appreciated that because a lot of other companies would have Walter Hauser go over and make it a big surprise or whatever. But QT Marshall, at the end of the day, just hit the fucking cutter on him and pinned him. But, I'll give it up for the effort. But these kind of matches, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to review these anymore. I've seen so many people go through tables and get hit with kendo sticks. I'm numb to it all.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty great. I thought that Paul Walter Hauser, went above and beyond and this greatly exceeded my expectations. And QT Marshall is really great in these spots where he's working with somebody like this, and he's the perfect foil as a heel in a match like this. And I thought for what this was, it really landed for me. I really liked it a lot.
Yeah, and that's even in a landscape where you see a lot of these kind of
matches, I really enjoyed this one.
It still worked for you? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it worked for me. I really enjoyed this one. I was really impressed with Paul Walter Hauser here, much more than the stuff he does in MLW. I thought that, this really, it just landed. This one landed for me.
I think one of the bigger issues with MLW is he's not working with someone as good as QT Marshall, who like you said, is really good in this kind of style of a match or whatever. And he was making Hauser look like $1 million too by taking those bumps in the glass and overselling him and stuff. So yeah, but I really appreciate that Marshall just beat him, though, when he needed to. Just hit the cutter and got the pin. I think that's a smart way to book that. So, okay, let's go to the ROH World Tag Team title because that's where we did get a pretty big angle Sammy Guevara is going to announce who his partner is, and he's backstage, and he's apparently talking to one of the Von Erichs, and everybody just assumes he's going to pick one of the Von Erichs. Is it going to be Marshall? Is it going to be Ross? We'll find out when he comes out here. And it was neither. It was Roosh. It was LFI's Roosh. And then they proceeded to have a pretty fun match. It was Roosh and Sammy Guevara versus the Outrunners, and Roosh looked really good, and the crowd was kind of splitting away. Like, they hated Sammy Guevara and booed the fuck out of Sammy Guevara, but they cheered Rush a little bit, but they cheered the Outrunners a lot. So it made for a really fun dynamic where the crowd was really into the Outrunners, really into Roosh a little bit, but kind of annoyed that he was teaming with Sammy Guevara, and then fucking hating Sammy Guevara, which is always going to be Sammy's best role, is just an asshole heel that everybody hates. Because, I mean, from watching him in the Texas Indies, that's the role he was born to play, right? Sammy Guevara as a babyface will never work, and nobody should ever try it ever again. It's done.
He should always be a heel.
Yeah, he should just be a douchebag heel that comes out with an energy drink and does dumb flips, and he's annoying, and you just want to beat his ass. Like, you want to punch him. That's Sammy Guevara to a T.
Never, ever be a babyface.
Yeah, let's never do that again.
But Tony's going to keep trying.
I know he will. I know he will, and he needs to listen to this and just never do it again.
And I thought this was a very good pivot with Dustin being out.
Yeah.
To just change gears here with Sammy. I never even really liked the Sons of Texas idea. It never really worked for me. So this is the move for Sam. And if Dustin does come back at some point, you have a built-in feud.
Perfect. Yeah.
Where Sammy can go over and, So yeah, this was honestly a good pivot I didn't see coming. I didn't see him going heel here. I just thought it'd be business as usual with him and the Rhodes guys and the Von Erichs, not the Rhodes guys.
The Rhodes look a lot like that. So. The young Rhodes kids look a lot like the Von Erichs. So when they eventually come up, that'd be a hell of a feud between those two guys.
They look like children, the Rhodes guys. They look very, very young. But it's easy to confuse them for obvious reasons.
Yes.
But so yeah, no, this is a really good pivot, and it's the Outrunners they're perfect opponents in a match like this because people really like them and they're sympathetic baby faces, and that's the kind of team you want to beat in this situation.
Right. They should never win this type of match ever.
Never win it.
Yeah. They always need to lose this big time match or whatever. So yeah, Roosh and Guevara do get the win. They're the new ROH World Tag Team Champions. The Von Erichs come out afterwards, and Sammy's like, "Oh, it's all right, man. I'm still with you guys. Don't worry about it." Then they turn their back, and then he just super kicks them, and they beat the fuck out of him. So,
yeah,
cool gimmick. So yeah, I'm interested to see the Von Erichs feuding with LFI and stuff. So that should be a bunch of fun. So then we go to our semi-main events. The ROH World Title is your semi-main event. The Women's World Title is your main event. Bandito versus Hechicero, 36 minutes and 28 seconds. I loved this match. This I thought was awesome. And I've always been lower on Bandito than a lot of other people, but I've really liked his output this year. I think in 2025, Bandito's been great. I think his ROH World Title matches have been great. I think Hechicero is phenomenal. These guys went out there, and I thought they maybe missed the peak a little bit, maybe went a little too long. Maybe if you shave 8-10 minutes or so off this match, you might have landed a little bit better, but I can't really make many other complaints. I thought these guys went out there, worked their asses off, took a bunch of big bumps, had this crowd in the palm of their hand, and I mean, you got to watch this match. I mean, if you're listening to this and you haven't watched this pay-per-view, you got to watch this match. It was pretty fucking phenomenal, and a match that I think is going to get. It's not going to be. I don't know if it's going to be in our top 10 of match of the year, but I do think it's going to get some buzz at the end of the year because I thought it was that good, and I think a lot of people are reacting to it that way too. So I don't know what you thought, but I love it, and I cannot recommend it enough. And these guys took some hellacious bumps, and just a war, just an absolute war between these two guys. And when it was done, Bandito obviously gets the win to defeat Hechicero. But yeah, they worked way harder with a lot more effort than I thought they would. But what'd you think of Bandito and Hechicero?
Yeah, Hechicero is so great. They had a great match. I didn't think it was 9.46 cage match great, but I thought they had, an excellent match. I agree with you. I think they missed the peak a little bit. I don't think it needed to be 37 minutes. There's just always something missing for me with Bandito. I hate the finisher. The finisher stinks. I'm totally 100% out on the 21 plex. Even when it looks good, it looks bad. It's a dumb move. It's like the 619 where a wrestler has to get into an awkward position that they would never, ever get into otherwise in any other match, in any other circumstance. So it's silly from that standpoint. Guy has to stand there and hold the ropes and wait for this guy to bounce off the ropes to suplex him. It's just preposterous. Doesn't look good half the time. Looks like shit even when it looks good. But yeah, I mean, Bandito usually has some moments in his matches where things just fall apart, and that didn't happen so much in this one. But he's definitely not the cleanest worker. I've seen some Wrestler of the Year buzz gathering for him. I can't get behind that. I've seen people thinking he could be a top guy in AEW. I can't get behind that. I can't see that either. I've never liked that guy as much as everybody else likes him. And it always puts me in a position of pointing that out. When I do like him to a degree, I just don't see.
You don't see him as the top star. You probably see him as this is his ceiling, basically, right? Is ROH.
I never think of him as one of the best wrestlers in the world, and I never think of him as a future potential top guy. I guess that's what I'm getting at. But if he's going to be ROH World Champion, I mean, yeah, who cares? That's fine. And Hechicero, I mean, the guy's he's fantastic.
When does he ever miss? When does Hechicero miss? Like, everyone's talking about Bandito being like a most outstanding contender. Fucking, where's Hechicero's case? That dude never fucking misses.
I was just going to say that to me, he has a better case for Wrestler of the Year than Bandito if it's just a work award.
Yeah.
Because he's been the better wrestler this year than Bandito. He's not as flashy, but I mean, he's the better, and it's every time he doesn't miss. So, yeah, a really great match.
Really good stuff. Yeah, go out of your way to watch this one. If you haven't, one of the better matches you'll see. I think this. I honestly, for Ring of Honor, one of the better Ring of Honor matches you'll probably see all year. That's a company that you get a couple every one of these shows or whatever, but this one, yeah, I really thought it was that great. So I definitely checked this one out. And then the main event was Athena Women's World Title against Mina Shirakawa. Again, to your point, 26 minutes seems. That's a little long for Athena versus Mina Shirakawa. I mean, you could tell that same story in 12 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't know. I thought this was kind of meh. Athena never lands with me quite. Like what you're talking about with Bandito is what I'm at with Athena. Like, I never quite think Athena matches land the same way with me as they do with other people. I know you're probably higher on Athena than I am. So I don't know. I thought it was like, well worked at times. I just thought it was way too long. And I think what also hurt too is there was never a second that I thought Mina Shirakawa was going to win this match at all. So it's like when we're prolonging the inevitable in a lot of ways with these super, super long Athena matches. So I don't know. I just thought it was okay, I guess is probably the best way to put it. I thought having to follow Bandito and Hechicero was a pretty tough spot to be in, but they tried to go out there and have an epic women's main event, and I don't know. I don't think it really worked for me. It was okay. It wasn't bad, but I don't know. I just didn't think it was very good.
I thought Athena worked a miracle getting a match this great out of Mina Shirakawa. I couldn't believe how good this match was, and in that it involved Shirakawa, who I don't think is any good at all. So from that standpoint, my big take here was going to be that this was maybe the most impressive Athena performance I've seen out of her since she's worked for Tony Khan.
See, we always divert on Athena. I don't understand why, but we do.
The Willow Nightingale match was probably a better match. Okay, but Willow Nightingale's good.
Yeah, Mina
Shirakawa is just an average women's wrestler. She's just probably below average. And I thought that this was a legitimately good match. And I've never seen Mina Shirakawa have a legitimately good match. And nothing as good as this. So, and I thought Athena, this was one of her, if not her best, one of her best performances she's ever had in a Tony Khan ring. I thought, she really stood out to me as one of the standout performers on the entire show, if I'm being honest. So, yeah, I like this match a lot more than you did. I didn't think it was that much worse than Bandito Hechicero. That's probably a real hot take.
That is spicy take.
I would say Bandito Hechicero was like 4.25. I'd say that was about 4.25, and this was about 3 3/4 or 4. Yeah, I didn't think it wasn't as good, obviously. But I didn't think it was that far off because I don't think I thought Bandito Hechicero was as good as everybody else does, and I thought this match was really great. So they were closer for me than they probably were for a lot of other people. So because I thought Athena was just really outstanding, And maybe because my bar for this was like on the floor, because I think Mina Shirakawa.
You went with low expectations. What I will say about Mina is
she takes gimmick. I mean,
she takes the O-face very well, like that, and that's one of the things she does a great job. And that's a move that I always say, like, oh man, that other person needs to be able to just be in the perfect spot and crumble at the right time. And Mina does do a very good job. Anytime that Athena's had to give her the O-face, it's like perfect every single time. So I will give Mina a little bit of credit there. But see, I tend to think Mina's a little higher, a little bit better than you do. So maybe that can kind of skew this a little bit too. Yeah, it could have been my
expectations. I think Athena dragged Mina into her world and made her have a good match, is what I think.
Okay, that's fair.
That's what I thought while I was watching it. And I was like, wow, I didn't think this match could even approach being as good as it was. So, and it was. But yeah. So no, I thought it was notable how good Athena was. And there's been time. Look, I've come on here and buried Athena at times. You know, I think a lot of her ROH main events have been way too long and way overrated. I mean, just she's had some of the most overrated matches of the last 2 years during this title reign, I think. But this one really worked for me against what I thought was a clearly inferior opponent.
But there you go. That was ROH. I almost said Supercard of Honor. Death Before Dishonor. I liked it. I thought it was a really, again, a little tighter. These things don't need to be as long as they are. But all in all, if this is what Ring of Honor is you check in every quarter and watch one of these types of shows, that's fine with me. I mean, I think there's a lot more potential for what Ring of Honor can be. But if it's just this, then that's fine. I have no problem at all with that if that's the case. So, yeah, I thought all in all,
I could look. It doesn't need to be 4 hours.
It could be short.
Mean,
it could be short for sure.
It's ROH, Tony. I would sooner think that an ROH pay-per-view should be 2 hours than 4 hours, but it should be 3. It should be 3. No way should it be 4.
Yeah, 2.5, 3. 2.5, 3 is more than enough for Ring of Honor.
Yeah, you don't need Queen Aminata versus Taya Valkyrie on this show.
In a pure rules? Come on. What?
You don't need that opening tag. You don't need the swirl versus the Kingdom. Like, you don't need a lot of this shit. There's your hour right there. I just saved you the hour. You know what I would do? Those are your pre-show matches. Boom. Those 3 matches are your pre-show matches, and those pre-show matches don't happen. That's all. And now you have a 1 hour pre-show and like a 2.5 hour or 3 hour main show, and you shave an hour off of this thing.
No MXM collection and Dark Order and the
They
frat
don't
house?
even work for me if I'm running things.
Right. What about Johnny TV?
So no.
Come on.
No.
So that was Ring of Honor. Death Before Dishonor. Enjoyed it. All right, real quickly, I'll get through these last 2 topics here. ECW Arena's greatest matches ever. So this was a Ringer article. And some people thought about this after Bandito and Hechicero possibly getting on this list. I don't know. Doesn't sound like you're putting it on this list. But I thought this was an interesting list because I think you and I have probably seen most of these matches on this list. You used to obviously go to shows at the Arena. Dean 3 is coming up this weekend at the Arena too. So maybe we get another match that can possibly get onto this list. But yeah, a couple more Dynamites. So who knows what's going to happen. But I thought this was a pretty good article from the Ringer from Phil Schneider, which when I initially saw the headline and someone sent it to me and said the ECW Arena's greatest matches, I was like, oh God, here we go. Yuck. Then I saw it was Phil Schneider and I was like, oh, okay, this is probably going to be pretty good. And I think he has a very good list here. So I wanted to give you the list and you can either, give pithy thoughts about each match or whether you agree, disagree, if that would be in your top 10. And then I don't know if you have in your mind at all any matches that you think land in this top 10. I have a couple that I think are decent enough contenders to at least be discussed here. But I'll go through the top 10 and then we'll go from there. But number 10 was Bryan Danielson, Shingo Takagi from Dragon Gate USA, July 24th, 2010. That was the Enter the Dragon, DGUSA Enter the Dragon. This was during Danielson's brief time away from WWE, where he went to Dragon Gate USA, wrestled a couple other places for a while, and obviously then went back by, Survivor Series? I think he was back. SummerSlam. Was he back for SummerSlam? I think it was SummerSlam. He was back. Maybe it was SummerSlam Survivor Series. I don't know. I don't remember. But match fucking rocks. Yeah, if you've never seen Bryan Danielson versus Shingo Takagi, it absolutely fucking rocks and is well worth your time. And well deserved in the top 10 here. I mean, it's peak Shingo and peak Danielson, and it's, can't recommend that match enough.
Might be number 1.
Yeah, it's really good.
I haven't seen this list yet, so, and I'm really bad at stuff like this. Like, if you would say, give me your top 10 matches in the ECW arena, I don't even know if I can name 10. My brain doesn't work that way. I don't remember what was in that building and what was like. I'll give you a perfect example. I didn't remember that this match was in that building, but now that you mention it, I'm like, oh yeah, that was in the ECW arena. Yeah, that belongs. That might be the best. So I'm gonna listen to the list and I'm gonna assess as I go.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, and some of these, let me know if you've been in the building for this as well. So I know you were not at the building for this one, the Enter the Dragon, right?
I was not.
2010. Okay.
No.
Number 9. I know you weren't in the building for this one. He put Claudio and Darby, August 27, 2025, Dynamite. So just from last week's Dynamite. One of the top 10 ECW arena matches ever. I put
a hard sell for top 10.
Yeah, I put a big question mark on this one, and I was like,
that was a good TV match, but I'm sure there's no way there haven't been 10 better matches.
No, yeah, that's
a really good TV match. It
was.
Listen, but this building has a lot of history and a lot of great matches, so I don't know about that one.
Yeah, wait till I read some of these other ones that I have, and then Alan Cunahan sent me 10 as well that we can add to the list. So, number 8, the CZW December 11, 2004 Cage of Death, Team Cash versus Team Blackout. Which, if you have never seen this match. Now, I'm not a big CZW guy. That's and I know you aren't either. That's like a genre that I just never really got into. It was going on concurrently with Ring of Honor, and I just much preferred Ring of Honor over CZW or whatever. With that said, if you have never seen this Cage of Death match, absolutely go out of your way to watch it. It is one of the most insane matches I have ever seen, and one of the craziest matches you have ever seen. I mean, the spots and the brutality. And it's not really all like death stuff. It's just guys doing really stupid spots the whole time. And I mean stupid in the best way possible. Like in the best way possible. Like Jack Evans, that's the show where Jack Evans takes a bump from the top of a cage to the floor on concrete. On his back. He just lands on his fucking back on the concrete. It's fucking insane. Eddie Kingston's arm gets sliced open. Nate Webb is just doing crazy stuff. Chris Cash with the dollar signs instead of S's. It's just doing crazy. It's just a bunch of these peak CZW guys just being peak CZW guys. It is fucking insane. It's a fucking insane match. It's probably the best War Games style match ever in my mind because it nails it. Or I guess, do you want to call the CZW versus Ring of Honor one a War Game style? That would be number 1. But this one's pretty damn close for me. It's just fucking insane. It's just an insane match.
Yeah, I can't comment. I haven't seen it.
You've never seen this match?
No, I never had any use for CZW.
I think you should watch this one. I think you might like this match.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I would. I just CZW was just always a very off-putting promotion to me. They used a lot of low-level talent that I thought didn't belong in a ring, along with a lot of talent that ended up becoming stars and were legitimately talented people. I didn't like the vibes. I didn't like the energy of it. I just always thought it was a really trashy promotion that I didn't have any use for.
Growing up, that I thought this because I was a Ring of Honor guy. We were a classy wrestling company or whatever. So that's why the Ring of Honor CZW feud worked pretty well because those two fan bases did not think that they were the same. So it worked. But
CZW and IWA Mid-South were two promotions that I just had I turned you could say whatever you want. I had no use for either one of them.
Yeah, I'm the same. But I think you should. This is one that I would definitely recommend if people have never seen this one. I don't know if it's available for free on YouTube. I don't know how you exactly find it, but I watched it a couple years ago, and it does hold up pretty well. It is peak 2004 baggy pleather pants, indie, like shindy at its best. You know what I mean? Because CZW is essentially just a glorified shindy. It just had a little bit of better. But this is a match that if I was making a top 10, absolutely would be in my top 10. I absolutely love this one. So.
All right.
Number 7. I don't know if you're in the building for this one. Tommy Dreamer versus Raven from June 6, 1997. This is the final match with Dreamer and Raven. This is Raven's send-off match as he's going to WCW. So Dreamer has one last chance to pin him. And this is when you get the Rob Van Dam and Sabu and then Jerry Lawler all invading the ECW arena because that classic Heyman special of, well, that guy's leaving, so I'm going to give you 5 other stories on the way out. So by the time that the match is over, you're not even going to remember that asshole's leaving. Fuck him. We got new stories. Here's our new stories. Yeah. And here's our new stars that you're supposed to care about. So,
no, I've obviously seen it. I wasn't there for that. I was done going by then. But I mean, it was a spectacle for sure. Depends what you're looking for on a list like this, but obviously you want to tell me top 10 most memorable in that building? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if it was a good match. Like I have better ones that I have, but I get
a lot of heat.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, yeah. It fit the ethos of ECW at that time, and especially being the blow off of Raven and Dreamer or whatever, so it all kind of worked. All right, number 6. Now we start getting into matches where I'm kind of nodding along a little bit more, because I think a lot of those were like vanity picks or whatever, except for the Cage of Death I would put on there. But now we're really talking here. Number 6, Tajiri versus Super Crazy, January 15th, 2000. This was the Mexican Death Match. Between Super Crazy and Tajiri, which if you've never seen this match, go out of your way to watch it. I think it's available on YouTube. I want to say WWE even uploaded it not that long ago. Like it rocks. It's really, really good.
Well, wouldn't it be on Peacock? I mean, wouldn't it just be in the archive?
That's true. I guess it would also just be on Peacock. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it aired. If it's on tape, it should be on Peacock.
Yeah,
because it was.
Sure.
So that's where people can find it. I don't know. Now, look, I haven't seen that match in fucking forever.
Oh, it holds up. I watched it not that long ago. It holds up. It's really good.
But I mean from the standpoint of I don't know if it's edited like from hardcore TV.
I see. Yeah.
So, but it should be on Peacock. There's no reason it wouldn't be on Peacock.
It is. If you do need, though, it is on the WWE Vault YouTube. I just checked because I remember watching it on that Vault. Yeah, but Tajiri Super Crazy Mexican Death Match if you're not a Peacock person. Number 5, Rey Mysterio Jr. versus Psychosis. September 16th, 1995. I think, is that the first one?
Well, no, he wrestled Hoovy later.
Oh, the first Psychosis match I meant.
The Rey Psychosis?
Yeah. September 16th.
I think
Let me
Rey
see if
Psychosis,
that's the first one.
Rey and Psychosis only had one singles match in ECW.
Is that
Rey
true?
wrestled Hoovy.
Oh, right. Okay.
So unless I'm misremembering, it should have just been... Because then they brought in Hoovy to wrestle Rey.
Why do I want to say they had another? Let me double check that. I think you're right. You were there. You would probably know.
I could be right. Rich, it was 30 years ago. I could be wrong. I mean, I remember him wrestling Psychosis, obviously in this match.
Oh no, they did have 2. Okay, so they had the match at Gangsta's Paradise, which is this one.
Yeah,
Rey Mysterio versus. So that was the first one that did in ECW. Then they had a 2 out of 3 falls match on Hardcore TV. Number 130, 2 out of 3 falls. That was in October, and they came back in November to Remember and had another match, Mexican Death Match, in November to Remember. So they had 3 in ECW actually.
We'll see. I told you, I could be wrong.
Yeah, no shit. ECW expert, my ass. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I definitely don't remember them having 3 matches. But I know this has to be the match I have in mind, though, that's on this list.
Yeah, this is the first one, and was the one that everybody, the blue, Rey Mysterio in his blue and red pants, Psychosis in the white, and them just going out there. And this is the classic Paul Heyman, my ring is your canvas, paint me a Picasso.
Yeah.
Do your thing.
And Psychosis was Rey's traveling opponent at this time, wrestling him everywhere. They had the match at the Best of the Super Juniors that wasn't part of the tournament, remember? Right around this time, it was just a showcase match. And this was, where Psychosis is one of the great bases ever, and really, and Rey obviously knows this is almost equally responsible for Rey's success as Rey is in working with him in all these matches and making him look so good.
Right. And when you watch guys catch people now, and then you watch Psychosis catch guys, and you're like, guys now, nobody can catch anybody, and everybody gets out of the way, and they put their arms out or whatever. Fucking Psychosis taking every fucking inch of Rey Mysterio and bringing him to the mat for him. Just great stuff. Yeah, that's how you base. And by the way, these guys are very young. Rey is 21 in this match. Psychosis is 25. Getting that big spotlight. So, number 4, I never saw this match, and you couldn't pay me to watch this match. So I don't know. Maybe it's good. I don't know. Sami Callihan versus Danny Havoc from CZW December of 2009. You couldn't. I can't
comment.
I'm good. I'm good on that.
2009 CZW on top of that. Forget it.
I am good on that. Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm sure it's great, but I'll never watch it. So
I'm sure it's wonderful. Yeah.
Sandman.
That was peak. Sami Callihan is the best wrestler in the world era.
Yes, yeah.
2009.
Oh God.
Yeah, remember that? Sami's the best in the world. There's a lot of that sentiment around that in that era.
Oh, so Grant Akuma's trying to correct you here, and he's right. Rey Mysterio and Psychosis, Super J Cup, sir.
Oh,
Super
yeah.
J-Cup.
I always mix those.
And that match happened 4 months after this match. That was in December of 1995.
That's right. It's right in that era. Yeah.
It looks like this match in ECW was their first ever singles match against each other. That's pretty interesting.
Non-tournament. Yeah, non-tournament, that Japanese match.
Yeah.
Just a showcase.
Sandman versus Sabu, ECW, January 10th, 1998. This was the Stairway to Hell match. I don't like this match at all. This match kind of stinks. This is where they just
vibes.
Yeah, it's a lot of vibes. Is this the Sabu breaks his jaw and Alfonso tapes it up match? Yeah, it is. I'm looking at it now. Yeah, that's a lot of vibes too, and a lot of ECW. Honestly, you go back and watch like
a lot of ECW's vibes.
Yeah, it's a lot of vibes. This one I think you're going to agree with, maybe based off the promo alone. Eddie Kingston versus Mike Quackenbush, Chikara, November 13, 2001 or 200011, the High Noon.
Well, the greatest. It's one of the greatest promos you'll ever hear.
Right.
The Eddie Kingston's High Noon promo. I would recommend that more than the match. The match was good.
The match was really good, but the promo is phenomenal. Yeah, and by the way, if you've never seen that promo before, please stop this podcast right fucking now and go watch it. It's still on YouTube. Eddie Kingston's Road to High Noon on 11/13/11. Go watch that and then tell me anybody else. When you say, "Oh, that was a good promo," it wasn't this. Trust me, it wasn't this. Anybody that says anybody doing a promo is really good or "Oh, that was a great promo," no. Because it's probably not even in the same fucking league as this Eddie Kingston High Noon promo. And I won't spoil it for you, but fucking next level great.
I will crawl.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
on my hands and my fucking knees. Right, yeah, it's so good. Oh, yeah. I guess he didn't swear it was for Chikara, but you know.
No, he didn't swear.
Yeah.
He definitely didn't swear.
He did not swear because
he might have swore on the first take, but that's not the take that made
Quack told him cut.
that made Quack's Chikara a go-go podcast no, definitely not.
Do you remember when it was Phoenix, right? Wasn't it Phoenix that went to a show?
I think it was Phoenix, yeah.
Accidentally
cursed.
And then he got like demoted on the next show or whatever. It's like,
I think it was all right. No.
I thought they like put him in a. I thought they put him in a worse spot on the next show or something.
No, I think they laughed it off. It wasn't.
Okay.
This is going to turn into urban legend now. Akuma was probably there. He's in the chat.
Let us know, Akuma. Let us know if Phoenix got in trouble. For...
I think he flubbed, and then the crowd was like, "Oh," and it was like a joke. Like they were like, "He doesn't know." It's like. I don't think Quack came out and chastised them and then buried them on the next show. I think it was just, oops.
I will crawl. Yeah, go listen to that promo for God's sake. I'm gonna go listen to it after this show. All right, that was number 2. Number 1 was Samoa Joe versus Necro Butcher, IWA Mid-South, June 11th, 2005. I always have to admit I'm like the low man on that match. I like it a lot. I just don't. People love it. Some people think it's like the greatest match of all time. I don't.
There's people who do think that.
Yeah, and I get it. I get it.
You can take the heat for that take.
Yeah, I don't think it's bad. I think it's good.
It's a legendary match.
It is a legendary match. My take is I think it's really, really good. I just don't think it's one of the greatest matches of all time. Is my hot take on that match. But people get mad when I say that. They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, I love it. I think it's really good. I think it's really good. But
I've got the Punk Joe matches. You've got that.
Yeah, I got this. And I like it. This is the problem. I like it a lot, but it's like, if you don't think it's like a seminal pro wrestling match, you're a fucking asshole. You know what I mean? It's just like, all right, that's fine. I'll take that. So, all right. Let me read. I have a little list here. A couple matches that I added here. Tajiri versus Psychosis from August 20th, 2000, ECW Hardcore TV. I was a big Tajiri and ECW fan, so I remember that match always.
Great.
Barely Legal, the Michinoku Pro 6-man from Barely Legal. I watched recently, and it still holds up, and it's still a very, very good match to me.
Yeah.
The next year, Mysterio and Hoovy did the big-ass Extreme Bash match, March 1996. I really, really like that. Dug into Ring of Honor a little bit. One of the 2 Adam Cole matches I ever liked. Adam Cole versus Kyle O'Reilly grudge match from Final Battle 2015. I mean, you remember that? I mean, I think on this show, I was raving.
Or the grudge match or the fight without honor?
Well, maybe I like both those. I do like the fight without honor, but I did like this one too.
But is that in the same building? I don't know if it's in the building.
I don't think the fight without. I don't think the fight without honor was there. The grudge match was there. Final battle.
It's tough for me because I don't remember what building matches were in. I am terrible at that. I don't have any kind of concept of. Like, some people have great recall of that. Like, even in Japan, they're like, oh, remember that Osaka match between Okada? And I'm like, I don't know what fucking city these matches are in. Like, a week after they're over, I don't remember what city they're in. So it's like I struggle with that. Like, so in an exercise like this, I have to be recommended the matches to then think about rather than thinking of the matches because I don't remember where they are.
Yeah.
Was that Chikara 4-way in the ECW Arena?
That was the next one I was going to give you. Yes. El Generico, Jigsaw, Kota Ibushi, Nick Jackson, King of Trios, 2009. Is that the one you're referring to?
That belongs in any top 10 in
Absolutely.
that building.
That list has to have that. Yeah, that is. And I watched that match about 2 months ago thinking there's no way this match holds up, right? It's 2009 and no, it's still fucking phenomenal. It's unbelievably good.
That still might be the best 4-way match I've ever seen.
Oh, undeniably. Yeah. I don't think there's any other 4-ways that are anywhere near that. So yeah, that was when I was going through my list and then I got to that one and I was like, oh my God, why did I not come up with that immediately? I guess like you said, didn't trigger with me that would be at the ECW Arena, but it was. Now did you go to that one or did you go to 2010 King of Trios? You went to one of the King of Trios, right?
I went to 2009. 2009 King of Trios.
Well, then you saw this. So you saw this match live then, or no? Did you go to a different night?
No, those were the last ECW Arena shows I ever went to before I moved. Then the last show that I went to before I moved was the ROH Hammerstein show with Kenta versus Nigel McGuinness for the title.
Oh, that's a good way to cap off your life on the East Coast. I'll tell you that.
I moved the next day. The next day I drove to Texas. So, and that match was great. That Kenta Nigel McGuinness match.
Oh, did you do the thing that I did? I was going to propose to the nurse. We were going to fly to San Francisco and I was going to propose to her in San Francisco. But Samoa Joe, after he had left NXT, was doing indies and he did an AAW shot against Josh Alexander. And I was like, I can't fucking miss that. I got to go watch Samoa Joe with Josh Alexander. And she's like, well, you better not be tired. And I'm like, nah, I'll be fine or whatever. But then the match rocked and I came home and I was all jazzed up and I didn't sleep a lick. I just woke up an hour later, got on the flight, and I was like, that was a bad idea. But no, it wasn't a bad idea. It all worked out in the end. But did you have the same, I wouldn't be able to sleep after Kenta and Nigel McGuinness. I especially not sleep enough to drive across the fucking country.
No, I mean, I don't know. I just fucking woke up
just
the next
got in the
morning
car
and
and did
drove
it.
to Texas.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Got in your, was it a Hyundai? What were you driving at that time?
No, it was a 2002 Jeep Liberty silver off-road edition because I had to drag a trailer too.
Oh, okay. I was good. Gas mileage not doing well on that trip.
It destroyed the fucking vehicle dragging the trailer. I remember that because I had to buy a new car 6 months later.
I could yeah.
Yeah.
But that was the one that was on my list. So I'll go to Alan Cunahan. He sent a whole list because I was like, hey, I need some other matches, guys, we could talk about. So Alan sends me an entirely new top 10 because, of course, you give Alan a prompt like that, he's going to give you a top 10. So
that's a guy who can remember. That's a guy who can remember
he knows.
Dates and buildings.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's probably going to do an episode about this now, and they're going to talk about 37 matches that happened or whatever. So here's his top 10. Oh, real quick, one more I had. Naruki Doi on Shingo Takagi from Enter the Dragon. I think was that the very first Dragon Gate USA show? That was really, really good. Shingo, you put Shingo in the ECW Arena, it's probably going to be really fucking good. That's, I guess,
that wasn't the first show, was it?
Enter the Dragon. Was that? What was the first DGUSA show?
The first DGUSA show, the main event. Oh, maybe.
I think Enter the Dragon was. I think that's why it was called Enter the Dragon, right?
Yeah, you might be right. I still have the ticket to that somewhere. Because remember, they had the special tickets.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I don't have mine. I got a special ticket. I don't know what the fuck I did with it. I would love to have that and show people that I spent way too much money on this ticket, but it's special.
Hold on, let me look this up.
Because you would have gone to this Enter the Dragon show, or you would have gone to the first DGUSA show, is what you're saying?
No, because DGUSA formed in 2010 or 2011.
No. No, this match was from 2009.
This was 2009? Maybe that's it. Well, that would make sense if I have the... I don't have the memory for this. People were looking forward to this segment, but I don't have that kind of memory.
Your brain is shot.
I can't remember. This shit was 20 years ago. I don't fucking know. I got to look at it and then say, oh, yeah, I remember being there. Let me take a look.
I'm double checking as well. Are you looking for your ticket, or are you just looking for if it was the first DGUSA?
I'm not looking for my ticket. That's upstairs in the closet somewhere.
Go get it. Go find it. Go find it.
Yeah, open the historic gate, which was the first show, which was Doi and Shingo. Yes, it was from the first show. Okay. And yes.
So I called it Enter the Dragon, but technically it was called Open the Historic Gate. Okay.
Yeah, and I was at that show, and that's the ticket, and I have the ticket still. Yeah. So yes, correct. I should have just trusted myself at the start.
What a show! All right, here's the whole lineup here. Yamato, BB Hulk. The dark match was just whatever, a bunch of dudes. Yamato, BB Hulk.
Johnny Gargano was in that match.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Johnny Gargano was in that match
with his weird haircut and his skinny little guy. Yeah. You start with Yamato, BB Hulk right out of the gates.
And his little denim jacket.
Yeah, right. Also with Cloudy and Cheech and Lewis London. And second match on the night, perfect. Too Cold Scorpio and Ken Doane, Kenny of the Spirit Squad.
Yeah.
So, DGUSA was always, ebbed and flowed. It was not always Yamato and BB Hulk. Sometimes they tried some things. They definitely tried some things. 8-man tag: Jigsaw, Quackenbush, Fire Ant, and Soldier Ant versus Amasis, Hollowicked, and Team Fist, Gran Akuma and Icarus. Gran Akuma in the chat room.
Did you know that Fire Ant was Orange Cassidy?
What?
And Soldier Ant was Drew Gulak?
What? Are you kidding me?
Shoot trash.
Fire Ants was, I get it because the red hair. Oh my God. Yeah. Shoot trash. You've ruined Christmas. Dragon Kid versus Masato Yoshino. The Young Bucks versus Shima and Susumu. And then Naruki Doi versus Shingo. God damn. We had it so good.
Yeah. People forget that Ken Doane was considered like a big prospect at that time.
Right. Like, he was one of the WWE misused Ken Doane, and once he gets on the indies, he's going to really show what he's worth. And no, not so much. Not so much. All right, let me get to Alan's list here, and then we can. We got Clash. Yeah. Fuck Clash in Paris. Who gives a shit? Shingo versus Danielson. He gave me a top 10. Shingo versus Danielson. So that was on Phil's list.
I think that might be number one.
That was number one for Alan, and I would agree. Ibushi, Nick, Jigsaw, Generico from 2009 Chikara, King of the Trios. We said
on my list for sure. Absolutely. It might be my number 2. Yeah.
Speed Muscle versus Shingo and Dragon Kid from 2009 DGUSA. So I don't recall that match off the top of my head, but I'm sure. Sounds fucking great.
Do I got to be honest, I don't remember it.
Samoa Joe versus Necro Butcher, so he put that number 4. He put Bandito and Hechicero, number 5.
Okay.
Yeah. So see, he's with me. You like that match a lot. Super Crazy and Tajiri Mexican Death Match, he put at number 6. He put Alex Shelley versus Bryan Danielson from 2006 Ring of Honor, number 7.
Can't say I remember that.
Yeah, I don't remember that one off the top of my head. Number 8. The one we just talked about from that same show, Enter the Dragon or Open the Historic Gate, Young Bucks versus Shima and Susumu. I got to go back and watch that. I'm sure it's fucking great.
Yeah.
And then there's Fist versus the Colony, Hair versus Mask, 2009 Chikara. Chikara used to be pretty fucking great back in those the peak days.
Well,
pretty fucking great.
Why we would watch it and cover it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then number 10 was the barely legal 6-man that I mentioned, the Michinoku Pro. Kaintai versus Hamada, Sasuke, and
perfectly valid to have.
Who was it? Yakushi or Yakushiji or whatever was the third guy, right? Yeah. Look at the list now. And so that was that's interesting. But yeah, if you guys have any that you remember off the top of your head, pretty good. But yeah, watch that Cage of Death for people that have never seen it. I think it's well worth your time. But all right, sorry, doggy. We're almost done. He's crying and whining. Clash in Paris. I don't know. What the fuck? Who cares? Do you get any thoughts? Thoughts?
What is you've been burying Clash of Paris all day with
boring
me.
As fuck. God, I tried to watch this thing 4 times this week. I said life's too short. Life's too short to watch Ashley Vox and Billy Starks and Appear Rules.
Yeah.
Life was too fucking short to hit play on this Clash in Paris, but I did anyway, and I regretted it. I should have just skipped it.
30,000 people.
Yeah.
Monster Gate.
Yeah. Final live event on Peacock. Yeah, final event on Peacock. Yeah.
That's right. You didn't like that angle with Roman Reigns beat down by. You didn't like that?
I liked it, but I don't know why we have to write off Roman Reigns. He's never there.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Guy works 4 times a year, and we're writing him off. It's like
the match was 22 minutes with Bronson Reed. And I think the angle was somehow longer. How long was that angle?
I know, and it was all the tropes too, because Roman's celebrating after the match, and Michael Cole's like, "Oh, the OTC #1 or whatever the fuck. Oh, he's done it." And then Braun Breaker comes out of nowhere and spears him through a table. And I love this. So Michael Cole's like, "Oh, what the heck?" He's just screaming, "What the hell? Where did he come from? This is unbelievable. I've never seen anything like this." And I'm like, "You've never seen a guy attack another guy? Like, what are you talking about, Michael Cole?" And then I couldn't believe Wade Barrett said, "He put him through one of those tables. Cole, those tables are impenetrable." And I'm like, "Fuck you. Those tables are impenetrable." Somebody goes through a fucking table every show.
Every show.
Fuck off, impenetrable tables. Fuck you. What are you talking about? But then, so they did a beatdown. And then Roman got up, and they beat him down again, and then he got up, and they beat him down again. It was just like, all right, we get it. You're beating him down. We got it. Like,
tsunamis.
Yeah, right. We get it. We heard you. Put him on the backboard. We do Owen Hart voice for Roman Reigns getting put out on the backboard. So
Roman will be back for revenge one day against these fellas.
Yeah.
So.
I cannot wait for the Royal Rumble. It's going to be a hell of a happening, I'll tell you.
I can't stop looking at Roman's teeth. I can't.
They get bigger. I feel like they've gotten bigger.
They get bigger and whiter every time I see his teeth.
Too white. They're just too white.
His teeth are way too fucking white. We got to start making veneers that have a little bit of natural. Like, they can't be that bright.
No, they need a little coffee stain, like a little bit of coffee stain on them or something. Just a little.
Natural tooth. How about just natural tooth color and not bright white?
Right. It's like when you buy a light bulb. Like, nobody likes those bright white light bulbs. They're the worst. When you think you're buying one of the like kind of yellowish light bulbs and you put it in your fixture and it's that bright fucking white, like you're at a dentist's office, you're like, oh God, what the fuck? Yeah. And I don't know the difference. I don't know if it's daylight or true white. I never know what I'm buying.
Well, it sounds good on the box. You're like, oh, 100 watt. Hell yeah. And then you put it in. You're like, no, I'm blinded. It's too much.
Like, I have that light in this room and I need to change it. Every time I don't turn it on. I have like these other side lights that I have on. Because if I turn that one on, it's just my eyes are just strained. It's just like, what is this light? I got to switch it out. But I thought I was buying the one.
Give me a 60 watt. Give me the 60 watt. I don't need the 100 watt.
Yeah, I don't need a plane to land in my house. Just give me a light where I can see at night. So that, I think they need to sell that for veneers. Give you
veneers. They don't need to be bright white. They just don't. They should be tooth colored. Teeth are not that color even when they're clean. They're not the color.
No, nobody has teeth that are that color.
Roman's teeth glow. It's really disconcerting.
They have a blue tint to them. They're almost so white they're blue in a way.
They're so white. It's so distracting. It's really distracting. There's an old Simpsons bit where like Smithers turns a light on and Mr. Burns is like, "Ooh, what is that 40 watts?" He's like blocking himself from it. Right. You know? 40 watts.
Yeah. He's like, "That's not a tanning bed." It's it's good stuff.
Yeah.
So good. But by the way, this 22-minute house show ass match. I mean, this was Butch Reed at his most. It wasn't Bronson Reed out there. It was Butch Reed, man. I'll tell you, this is classic 1987 Butch Reed. Right? The natural Butch Reed just going through the fucking motions. Unfortunately, Butch Reed was on his 108th match in 182 days. So I get it. I feel like Bronson and Roman could have probably tried a little harder, but hey, you know what? Why bother? Who cares?
But the natural Butch Reed at his laziest against superstar Billy Graham with no hips, and they're just putting each other in side headlocks, and
that's all this was. So bad. And the crowd's just chanting the whole time, loving it,
which
life.
Is like number 58 on some guy from PWO's list of the 100 greatest matches ever.
Right. The negative space between the headlocks was just incredible. Yeah. Oh God. Oh yeah. Roman wins and then gets beaten down to get written off. So, WWE Tag Team titles. The Wyatt Six defend the titles against the Street Profits, who were cosplaying as Borderlands characters. Joe, thoughts?
Yeah, you know my thoughts
on everything.
So we're teasing a Street Profits split.
Yeah.
Is it too late for Montez Ford?
It is.
Or can they do this?
No, it's over.
You think they passed?
Yeah, he's been a geek too long. If they did this 3 years ago, maybe. He's been a geek for way too long. He's 35 as well.
This team has been together so long that we went through they got to push Montez Ford phase. Then we went through actually Angelo Dawkins is the better
Angelo
member
might
phase.
Be the guy.
And then And then we're back to they got to push forward, but it might be too late.
Yeah,
like,
I think it's too late.
That they've had so many phases. But every tag team, if they stay together long enough, somebody pushes for the Jannetty. And we went through that with Dawkins, and it's like Dawkins was never, ever the guy. Okay, let me make that clear.
No.
It was always Ford. But yeah, it might be too late now.
I mean, they've been a team for almost 10 years at this point. I think I'm looking up.
Hey, is Akuma still in the chat? Because I have a question. I noticed on this show that, and I noticed this, I've noticed this many times over the last few years, and it's something the wrestlers not shave their armpits anymore.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. Now, is that just a Wyatt Six thing, or did you notice the Street Profits too?
No, I noticed that like Dawkins in this match didn't have shaved armpits. And then if you notice, like wrestlers don't shave their armpits anymore. And that used to be like just top, like first day etiquette. Like you shave your armpits, right? Is it because no one uses like side headlocks anymore? So it's not, you don't have to shave your armpits. Like it's not, because that was the whole point. Like you
Bronson Reed and Roman Reigns use side headlocks. Let me tell you that, brother.
Yeah, because the whole point behind that is so you wouldn't have your face in someone's sweaty, hairy armpits. So you would shave your armpits. But I don't think wrestlers shave their armpits.
Right. By and large, they're not doing those same sort of moves anymore. So yeah, maybe.
So I think that's probably why, right?
Maybe.
Because like when I was growing up, every wrestler shaved their armpits. Like that was the thing. They just shaved their armpits. So you just don't see that anymore. I don't know.
That's about all I have for Dexter Lumis and Joe Gacy. WWE Women's Intercontinental Title match. Becky Lynch defeats Nikki Bella in 13 minutes and 6 seconds. This
I want to know if you walked into Reading, PA, if you had to do an armpit check with Quack before he let you.
It sounds right.
Put your mask on and get in the ring. I want to know if that's the case.
Yeah.
Like, all right, boys, armpits.
Yeah, all right. Akuma says he's there. He says, I've always been a full body shaver, but it's become less of a thing. It's just gone away.
Yeah, it's strange. It just kind of slowly faded away where you don't shave your armpits. So I don't know.
Yeah, it went the way of long hair because you always used to have, guys had long hair so they could cover their faces when they're talking or whatever. Now guys just talk. They just scream. They scream the spots out loud. Nobody cares anymore.
John Cena ended all that.
Oh, God. Shoulder tackle. It's like, all right, John, we get it, brother. You only have a couple moves. You don't even have to scream it so loud. Like...
John Cena basically cuffs his hands around his mouth and fucking yells out the spots. It's like, yeah.
God, yeah. Becky Lynch, Nikki Bella is not very good at all.
Yeah, I mean,
Nikki stinks, and Becky's heel character is terrible, so.
Yeah.
Good old-fashioned Donnybrook. Rusev defeats Sheamus, so.
Okay, this fucking rocked.
This was pretty good.
This delivered. I mean, it was a little hokey with the beer barrels and stuff.
When the match started and then we're zooming in on beer barrels with kendo sticks around it, I was like, oh, fuck me. I don't think I could do this. But I
mean, this is about as cool as a modern WWE match can be. Yeah, so I enjoyed it a lot. I thought this was Notebook caliber, this match.
What do you think of them giving the big win to Rusev? Beginning of a Rusev push? No, I'm kidding.
I mean, I don't have any thoughts on the booking of the match. I couldn't fucking care less. But I look as just a visceral experience of watching these two guys who, still Sheamus always takes pride in fucking working stiff and beating people up and being worked on stiff in return. And I thought this was a shit ton of fun. I really enjoyed this. It didn't cross over into hokey the way a lot of WWE matches of this ilk tend to. So, you could have plopped this motherfucker right in the middle of like All In and it fit right in on an AEW pay-per-view. It was just a kick-ass match.
John Cena versus Logan Paul. Cena as a face is clearly, we thought he was super, super washed. Yeah. Because his heel stuff was awful and he clearly wasn't trying hard or he didn't know how to work heel. No. The face stuff is better. The face stuff is a lot better.
So much better.
Yeah.
It's night and day.
Yeah, it really is.
His work is just, his heel work really made us think that he was like sub Tanahashi level. Like it's night and day. I mean, there's just a different energy to it physically. He just looks like he's moving better. He just being a heel just completely threw this man for a fucking loop.
Yeah,
in every way, promos, his work, everything. Like he's maybe it's because he's in better shape now, and it took him a while to get in decent shape.
I think he thought it was stupid, and he didn't know how to work it. He thought he had to work slow and deliberate, and I don't know what it was, but yeah, it is. I mean, it couldn't be more night and day, his work as a heel. And I thought this was a pretty good match. I thought Logan Paul was working his ass off.
Wasn't bad at all.
I think Logan knew the situation, knew he had to, I think Logan probably expected that he would have to step up a little bit, like, oh, I got to really step this up because, Cena's on his last legs or whatever. But as the match proved, I don't think he is on his last legs. I think Cena's still got a lot of, I don't want him wrestling for more years or whatever, but clearly that, like, we thought it was like, oh God, how are they going to get through the rest of the year with this guy? And now it's like, oh, okay, we're good. You know what I mean? Like we can get through the rest of the year with this guy, no problem. He's not, he's not a super worker. He never was, to be honest, as we all know. But the face stuff is so much better than the heel stuff.
It's competent.
Yeah, for sure. And then the fatal 4-way WWE World Heavyweight title match. Seth freaking Rollins gets the win. I guess he's not freaking anymore. I guess he's just Seth Rollins. I defeat CM Punk, Jey Uso, and LA Knight. They've realigned Becky and Seth on camera, and CM Punk's going to get his wife to come back and save the day.
I can't believe people give a shit about AJ Lee coming back.
I am stunned by all this. I'm stunned that people care that she's coming back in like a positive way. I'm stunned that people are like, I can't believe AJ's going to come back. That's ridiculous. Like the whole thing, like the whole AJ thing. I'm like, how does anybody care about AJ Lee? Like, did I miss the point in time when anybody gave a fuck about AJ Lee?
Well, I mean, yeah, she talked a lot of shit on the way out, but her husband's a big giant hypocrite. Why wouldn't she be?
Right. Well,
so
she's
that doesn't surprise me.
As I wrote in my news update, she was a hypocrite at the time. The whole give divas a chance thing. Everybody's like, oh, well, she said that. She came back 2 months after that and wrestled, and she retired because she got hurt. She was more than happy to say give divas a chance. Was just like, hey, help, push me. Essentially, is what that was. And then when she got pushed, she didn't say anything else about give divas a chance. And then when she got fired or she quit, she would, oh, yeah, that was a bad company to work for. But yeah, her husband, you said she's married to a big dumb hypocrite. So why would she be the same thing? Right. Money talks. They're wrestlers, man. They're professional liars. I don't know what to tell you. So
could you imagine the just over the top self-righteousness in that fucking house?
Oh, come on. Leave Larry alone. Larry has nothing to do with this. So.
And they're both just completely full of shit, but they like just bantering back and forth about how right they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't give a single shit about AJ Lee and never have. But as far as this match, I have to be put a disclaimer here. I was running out of time before the show, so I only watched like the last 5 minutes because I wasn't gonna have enough time.
I didn't miss much,
so I can't really comment on the match. I'm not gonna lie to the audience. I watched the finish because I just wanted to get a feel for the finish. So you're gonna have to carry this one, big guy.
Oh wow, yeah. Let me give you all my strong thoughts. And no, it was just it's a fatal 4-way match in WWE. It was exactly what you'd think it would be. Guys went for pinfalls. Guys broke them up. A lot of one-on-one battles, a lot of people yeeting, yaing. I mean, it had Jey Uso and LA Knight in it, so that they're not workers. They're not going to be competent workers at all. But they're going to yeet and they're going to go a bunch, and they did. And then
I saw LA Knight taking some pretty hellacious bumps in the little I did see. To be fair,
yeah, he worked pretty hard. Jay didn't. Yeah, Jay didn't do much.
Okay.
Chase.
And then the big spot was Becky Lynch.
Yeah, right. It was all you knew. I mean, God damn it, you knew that something was gonna. You didn't think, I'm gonna invest in a minute 11 of this match and see who's gonna win this knockout dragout war. Like you knew something was gonna happen, something nefarious was gonna happen, and it did.
So Becky will join Seth and the Penguin and what the fuck's his name, Heyman and Braun.
Well, he's the what is he, the Oracle or something now? I think that's what they're calling or he's calling himself, I should say.
So it's that's what they're going to build the company around now, and that top group and Punk once again being foiled in his attempts to be the world heavyweight champion, and Seth being the thorn in his side. And I think all of this long-term booking with Seth and Punk is kind of just to stick the screws to Punk. He never wanted to work with Seth to begin with. So
just when he thought he was gone, now he's way back in again. Yeah, you know what I mean? He's
continuing to just test this man's patience and, see if they can get Mount Phil to explode, which I don't think it will. I just think he's a completely at this point, he's just a husk of a man who doesn't stand for anything anymore. So I don't think I've changed my mind. I don't think we're ever going to see Mount.
No, I think if we didn't see it yet, we're not going to see it.
He just, he's happy to be part of the machine now.
Mm-hmm.
He's, so anyway, yeah, I don't know. It's the crowd was super hot because they've never had a show before of this magnitude, and a lot of the chanting but 30,000 people and a Monster Gate, and and this really made me think because this had 6 matches and the matches were long. I mean, there were a lot of long matches on the show.
There was.
We always used to bury the Levesque pay-per-views for being like 4-match pay-per-views with like 4 12-minute matches, right? And we're like, this is so fucking. But God, I was begging for one of those watching this. Like, can we go back to the 4-match Levesque pay-per-views that were 12 minutes?
Here's the thing about the 4-match Levesque pay-per-views that are 12-minute long matches. I could skip through all the other shit. I feel bad skipping the wrestling.
Yeah.
And I realized, man, I want to go back to that when I could just go 30 second, 30 second, 30 second, 30 second, hit that 15 times. And then I get to the entrance. And then I go 15, 15, 15. Okay, the match started. Okay, cool. I can watch the match. Then it's over in 12 minutes. And I go dun, 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 dun. I kind of appreciate that. It makes it a lot easier because you could be in and out in 90 minutes with the Levesque pay-per-view.
Yeah, for sure. This was a real careful what you wish for situation.
I know. We got a wrestling show, and I did not like it at all.
This was way more WWE than I ever wanted on my Thursday afternoon. So, so yeah. Look. I didn't think this was a terrible show. I just didn't think it was just, how do I even describe this? It was just, I really liked Rusev and Sheamus, and I thought Cena and Logan Paul was interesting. And the rest was like, I didn't want to be watching it. So I don't know how to break any of this down.
Yeah, it wasn't egregiously terrible. They've had much worse shows. I don't know. I was just like,
there was no terrible match on the show.
No, I just feel nothing when I watch these WWE shows. It's like, why am I wasting my time? I should probably stop wasting my time, but we kind of have to.
I know.
It's just like on the week I had, having to hit play on Peacock to
I hear you.
Michael Cole being like, oh, we're looking at beautiful Paris, France. It's like, oh, God.
Sponsored by Riyadh Season, by the way.
Is that true?
I noticed that. Yeah, this show was sponsored by Riyadh Season.
I didn't even notice that. It's so good.
The fucking sponsor of the show, Rich. Right in the logo, right in the middle of everything.
Clash in Paris, was it? Let me see here. Was it sponsored by Riyadh Season?
Riyadh Season with the logo with the fucking half sun and the colors or whatever. Yeah, Riyadh Season.
Wow, I didn't really realize that, I guess.
Yeah.
There it is, presented by Riyadh Season. All right.
Told you, it was the sponsor of the fucking show. They love their WWE.
They do. Those super yacht owners love WWE. Yeah.
They do.
Presented by Riyadh. I don't know why I didn't notice that.
It was all up in your face every replay when the logo would come up. Riyadh fucking sponsored by Riyadh.
Riyadh Season. Oh, God. All right, that is it for us. We are not presented by Riyadh Season, unfortunately. I wish we were? It'd be pretty good for the... Probably get a super yacht if I was.
I'm a terrible capitalist. I don't want their money.
Yeah, that's true. I'd rather do what we're doing here. Talk about wrestling for 3 hours and 45 minutes.
I'm like the biggest poser capitalist of all time. Like, I talk all this shit like I'm this dirty capitalist pig. But, like, we refuse to do this. We won't fucking aggregate. We won't take a Ronda Rousey interview and break it up into 17 articles. Like, we don't do any of that. Like, what kind of capitalist am I supposed to be? Like, I won't take the blood money.
Yeah, we've turned down a couple ad reads. Not many ad reads, but I did turn down the couple. The one was like the disaster preparedness, like meal kits or whatever. I was like, I don't want to do that.
But it was very right coded.
Yes.
Like, it was very It was called like Patriot Food or something.
For Patriots. I think they advertise on on some sports network. I don't know what it was. I think when I watch IndyCar racing on Fox, it's like for Patriots, like meal kits. Like, you're good. If Obama ruins everything, we're going to, you're good for 8 months with food.
Right.
And I'm like, all right.
It wasn't just dry freezed fucking.
No. Yeah, and it was like they wanted to sponsor us right when Biden got elected, and I was like, yeah, I don't want it.
It was real heavy handed, and I'm like, is the fucking $180 worth it?
It wasn't. Yeah,
it's not.
They offered to send me free stuff, and I was like, I don't want your freeze dried beans.
Yeah, I don't want freeze dried chicken cutlets. I can just make my own chicken cutlets. You know. I'm not going to eat them.
Yeah, I don't think the liberals are going to collapse the government, so I'll get my own chicken cutlets at the grocery store. I think we'll be okay. So,
yeah, the libs aren't coming for me. Well, they might be coming for me, but they're definitely not coming for you. But yeah, I'm a terrible capitalist. Yeah. I have to be a better capitalist.
There was an ammunition company too, and I was like, I'm not getting into gun ads. Like,
you know what? You didn't even bother pitching that.
No, I was like, that wasn't no. Because I thought you might be like, it's, not everybody, guns, you need guns for protection. I didn't even do that one. It was weird. It was a really weird company, and I was like, I'm good.
I'm an anti-gun guy, though.
I know. That's kind of why I figured. I guess
you didn't even pitch it to me.
No,
you didn't even bother.
Well, it was like $80. It was like not that much money, and I was like, I'm not going to do a gun ad for $80. Like that's a little too much for me. So
you know me, I don't want to be within 100 yards of a gun. I am terrified of guns. I don't want guns near me or my family. I am not a gun guy. So was it right wing coded?
Oh, yeah.
Freeze dried food.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't want that. I don't want anything that delves politically at all.
Right. Exactly. Keep us out of that.
Right wing, left wing. I don't want nothing to do with it. Like if the fucking socialists of America with their fucking little red flowers came calling, I'd say no to that too. I don't want nothing to do with the political shit. So we're just talking about wrestling, man. I don't need to fucking fend off people who think we're doing political ads on either side. I just have no interest in it whatsoever.
I'll do betting. I'll do sports betting and.
We just concocted a fantasy scenario of Angelico owning a vape shop. We don't. It's not that serious. Right. Like I don't want to do political fucking ad. It's like that's what we do.
Yeah, for sure. That is indeed what we do. But we do is things on flagshippatreon.com. So make sure you go up to flagshippatreon.com for all of our bonus content. Like I said, that news update that I did covering a couple of the odds and ends news of the week. You did a Thursday Dynamite review, as you always do every single week, covering Dynamite. Also this week, in NFL Intelligentsia. How long was that motherfucking podcast? Like 7 hours?
6 hours.
6 hours previewing the entire NFL season is up there right now. NFL Intelligentsia. Hey, even if you want, you got a college football intelligentsia too, if you want to catch up on that, as
that's right.
The college football season's getting hot and heavy. Rich Drinks / Eats. There's a new Mountain Dew out there, and there's a new candy that tastes like Mountain Dew. So I covered that. $10 tier gets you all of our live audio, instant reaction lives, all of our big reaction shows, as well as all of our written content. $5 tier gets you all of our additional bonus audio, and there's also free content as well. So if you want to sign up and just try us out, see what we have, you can sign up for the free tier, and that'll let you know when we have something that comes out, and you can decide, hey, that sounds pretty good, I want to subscribe to that. Or you just be free, and then you can get a couple of little bits of content here and there. But obviously the $5 tier unlocks all of our bonus audio, and $10 tier unlocks everything we've ever done. And we've been at this since late 2018, I want to say. So the archives are massive. There is a lot of stuff in those archives, a lot of retro content. You can go back and listen to AEW instant reaction lives from all the past pay-per-views, previous WrestleManias. There's a shit ton of stuff available in our archives. I don't know if we tout our archives nearly enough, but at this point, we're quickly approaching 10 years on Patreon. So there's just an ungodly amount of stuff in those archives. A lot of it evergreen as well, all the deep dives, a bunch of other stuff too. So flagshippatreon.com, $5 and $10 tiers. All right, that is it for us. That is Joe. I'm Rich. We'll talk to you guys next time. Take care. Bye.
Hi, I'm Andrew Rich. And if you're like me, you look at the state of modern wrestling discourse and think, wow, what a cesspool. That's why I'm here to tell you about Music of the Mat Remix. That's right, your favorite wrestling music podcast is back with a new format, where I bring on a guest and we play songs related to wrestling-themed topics. It could be a wrestling reference, a wrestling concept, a wrestling pun, things of that nature. Now you might be saying, Andrew, that is a very, very tenuous connection to pro wrestling. on a wrestling podcast network. Is this just an excuse to hang out with your friends and talk about music and ignore the rest of the wrestling landscape? Yes. Yes, it is. So listen to Music of the Mat Remix on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network, available on Apple, Spotify, or your podcast player of choice.
Hey everybody, my name is Jesse Collins, and I am the host of the Gentleman's Wrestling Podcast, a show right here on the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. On the Gentleman's Wrestling Podcast, we take a deep look at individual issues and stories that are going on in the wrestling world. Each episode is about a different topic, and we take a thorough and educated look at things ranging from current booking trends to breakdowns on individual performers and angles to investigations into different fan cultures across the industry. In addition, we keep a close eye on the wrestling media, and as a professional journalist, I bring a unique perspective to how current issues in wrestling are being covered and discussed through the wrestling media. We have a revolving series of guests from across wrestling punditry joining us on each episode, and we hope that you make the choice to give us a listen on wherever you get your podcast from.